Alright. Hey guys. I'm gonna go on a little rant if you guys don't mind, but if you do, just skip ahead a little bit. If you're curious about some stuff that's happened and notice some stuff that's happened, then you can stay and I'll tell you about it. Alright. So what's happened was a lot of my videos I have purposefully deleted. Those are for reasons. Oh, and one thing, I was originally planning on making this video just to tell you that this channel got hacked, but then I found out that he got it back. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, if you don't know who Zether is, check that guy out. He's great, more consistent than me, you know. That's always great, just consistency. But so like I was saying before, a lot of my a lot of my videos have been deleted, and that was me. And if you're like, Aizawa, I like that series, why would you delete it? I'm gonna be flat out with you. They did god awful compared to a lot of my other videos. So I realized, okay, so either nobody really is interested in that, which I didn't think really, or just YouTube has been pushing me away from the algorithm for a while now. And I'm like, that's probably what's happening, to be honest. So I'm gonna try deleting the videos that did pretty damn bad in comparison to a lot of my other videos. And see where it goes. I'm sorry if you like those series like Winter Soldier and such, but it's just like they did really bad compared to a lot of my others. And I'm not gonna say that, oh, you guys, it's totally not that I'm being a bad creator and not having consistency. That's definitely one of them. But I do feel like YouTube has been pushing me back from the algorithm a lot, so yeah. Maybe I can do like a redo of those series later on. Maybe I can repost a few videos, since I still do have the voice things for a lot of them. Probably not Winter Soldier, and probably not a few other ones that I've deleted. If you've noticed, you've noticed. If you haven't, don't worry about it. They're gone either way, so. But yeah, let me get into the video. Alright, so this video is going to be, what if Deku was Kokushibo's reincarnation? If you don't know who Kokushibo is, he is Upper Moon 1, the strongest of the Upper Moon, only standing below Muzan, you know, that guy. Alright, now, just so you know, there are going to be spoilers into his abilities, his origins, all that stuff. So if you don't want to be spoiled, well, then you should probably click off this video, I'm not gonna lie. But, if you do not care about spoilers, or is like, I don't care, I want to watch your videos, which I don't understand that at all, why would you want to watch me? But, yeah, then you can stick around. But, I'm probably not gonna get too much into his origin per se, or at least what happens in the story. I'm just gonna say like, okay, he dies like canon, and then that stuff, yeah, you know. So yeah, let's get this started. So the way I'm gonna start this off, it's Kokushibo. He's in this whole fight with whoever, if you've read the manga, and of course he eventually dies, and now he wakes up in this dark plane, right? And he's like, where am I? You know, he's looking around, and he sees his brother, you know. Of course, he runs over to him, and he starts apologizing for everything he's ever done, and how he tried to kill him, and all that. And now, what's it called? Of course, his brother is forgiving and loving, and he's always going to accept him. And Yujiro, yes, Yujiro, if you heard me right. Yujiro, of course, tells him, listen, alright? Originally, you were supposed to be sent to purgatory right after for all your sins and stuff. And, Kokushibo's like, yeah, that does make sense. You know, luckily, the way you died was just as I really expected. And, a bit, like, Kokushibo's surprised by this, and he's like, what do you mean? He's like, because of how you died, I was able to make a deal, and you should be able to be reincarnated. Kokushibo, he's confused. He's like, what? Why? Like, I don't understand. He's like, as long as you do better in this life and become a better person deep down, then you've made my deal worth it. In Kokushibo, he's astonished by his own brother's kindness. He doesn't know what to say to him. And before he can really say anything, he vanishes. And now we're going to follow the Nine-Tails attack. Alright. Oh, by the way, I might make this a movie if I don't get interrupted halfway. Yeah. So, at the Nine-Tails attack, everything's happening up to canon to where, Naruto is born, Kushina's happy, Minato's happy, then the masked man pops up, all that stuff. And of course, now that Naruto is being held by Minato and he's going over to Kushina and he's talking to her, Naruto opens his eyes and they notice that he has these, like, markings on his eyes, and like, where the white is supposed to be in his eyes, it's red. They're confused, and they're like, what the hell? What happened? They are not sure if it's some kind of dojutsu, so they decide, alright, we'll just ignore that for now. Right now we have other things to worry about. Of course, they're talking about the Nine-Tails. As Minato, just like in canon, seals the Nine-Tails away, half inside of himself and half inside of Naruto. I don't think that Naruto really would need more than half the Nine-Tails in this one. So yeah. After that, Hiruzen finds him. Hiruzen makes Yambu swear to never tell anybody. Danzo still tells everybody. That's all the same. So now, we're gonna skip to when Naruto's a child, barely old enough to speak, and he's in an orphanage. So, Deku... fuck! You see, I know, it's always whenever I make a Naruto what if that this happens. But, Naruto, he is walking around the orphanage trying to make friends. But all the kids, they don't even know that he's the Nine-Tails per se. But they do see his eyes and they're freaked out. And of course, if you're wondering, Deku doesn't have 6 eyes for now. I'm not gonna say that he has 6 eyes 24/7, but I'm gonna make it more like a transformation kind of thing to where, like, it allows him to see into the see-through world, which we'll get into that later. But of course, Naruto, alright, Naruto, it's Naruto, yeah. So Naruto's still trying to make friends, and kids are freaked out by his eyes, and they don't want to get near him. The adults who know about the Nine-Tails are freaked out by him, thinking that the demon's taking over. And if it was like before, where people believe the demon taking over, now with Naruto having the freaking red eyes and the writings on his eyes that say upper moon, like, of course they're gonna be hella suspicious and think that he's the Nine-Tails now. So, of course, his treatment is honestly a lot worse than I would say in canon. Because in canon, they were still like, oh, like, I'd say that in the back of their mind, even though they were mean to Naruto and bad to him, they still believed, okay, this is a small child. Like, in the back of their head, at least. But now, like, this is a full-on demon in their eyes. And to be fair, they're not completely wrong. So now, Naruto, he's walking around trying to just avoid the villagers at all costs. Especially since a lot have started to notice Naruto's greater speed and just greater, strength than most would have, at his age at least. And if you're wondering why he's out of the orphanage, they kicked him out, of course. And this is a lot earlier than canon, where he still got kicked out of the orphanage. Before, I think he got kicked out at 5. And I'll say that the moment Deku could, or not, fuck, this is gonna be a habit, sorry. The moment Naruto could walk, they tried to get him out the door. So, now Naruto's walking through the village on his little stubby legs. He did catch on fast on how to walk, so he's starting to walk better, and especially since he already has pretty good nerve control, what babies don't have. Since babies are very bad with controlling their movements and stuff. But, Naruto, he's walking around, and these villagers are just glaring at him, sending hate his way, and he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand why he's getting all of this hate. And, basically, one villager, they throw, a tomato, because I'm not going to say they throw glass at him, because, small child. But they throw a tomato at him, they throw, vegetables and trash at him, basically saying, get out of here, demon child, yada yada yada. So of course eventually Naruto has to run for his dear life to get away from these awful villagers, and he makes it to a part of about an alleyway, we'll say. And in this alleyway he sees just he hits a wall, right? And he's just what the hell? And then he turns around, he notices that a few villagers followed him for some reason, right? And he's confused on why these villagers would follow him. Eventually, one pulls out, a pocket knife, and the other pulls out a wrench, and they're not a pocket knife, but a kunai. I'm thinking too much freaking My Hero. One pulls out a kunai, and the other pulls out, basically just something, a stick, or something to just beat Naruto with. And, Naruto starts, they start approaching Naruto, and they do start beating him. And they're not being very gentle, they're just beating him full out. And, eventually, over time with Naruto screaming out and, begging for help, eventually someone clad in armor with a very long beard would be walking past the alleyway, but then he stops and then he looks over and sees what's happening, and then he rushes in there, basically appearing in front of these people, and blocks the kunai that was not blocks, but basically with the blade he has on his side, he completely reflects the kunai away and then cuts the stick that the other person's holding. And, he then sheathes his sword as a part of their shirt gets cut. And then he warns them, if you ever attack this child again, I won't be so kind as to only cut your shirt. These people, they don't know who this is, but they're already just scared, so they run off. Then this man turns to Naruto. I had to correct myself for a second. Naruto, and he asks Naruto if he's okay. Naruto, of course, tells him, yeah, I'm fine, but, who are you? The man explains that he's a samurai that came to the village because usually they'll use his area, his land, as a meeting ground between all villages. But, for now, he just was coming here to speak to Hiruzen about some stuff happening in the land of the samurai. Naruto, he's a samurai. He's starting to think, samurai are really cool, and they use their swords. And Deku looks over at his sword, Alright, just, yeah, forgive my slip-ups, alright? Naruto looks over at his sword and he's astonished, and, the guy's like, maybe when you get older, you'll be able to get a sword like this, kid. And, Naruto's like, really? And then, the man smiles and he tells him, yes, I do believe that. And after that, the man walks off, leaving Deku to himself. Just because, actually, no, he wouldn't walk off. He would take Deku to a hospital. Then they'd really be hesitant to treat him at all. But, this man is pretty insistent. So eventually they treat Deku. The man gives Deku a little bit of money and tells him to go to his parents. The man tells Naruto to go to his parents. Naruto, of course, is like, I don't have any parents. And the man's like, an orphanage? He's like, I got kicked out of the orphanage. He thinks to himself, why would they treat a child like this? This isn't right at all. So, of course, he heads over to Hiruzen with Naruto in hand, and he starts speaking to Hiruzen like, why is your village treating this boy this way? That isn't right at all. I don't believe that you should do this to this child. And, Hiruzen explains that Naruto is a special case, and then he acts, he basically puts a momentary genjutsu on Naruto to where it just looks like they're talking. But then he does explain that Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Just because this person is a trusted ally and already is a very neutral party in this entire war that they're currently having. So the man understands, and he asks Hiruzen if it wouldn't be too much of a bother, could Naruto stay with me for a while in my village? And, Hiruzen's like, the council would never agree to that. Naruto's the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. As much as they hate him, he's also an asset. And, this man, he thinks to himself, if you're wondering why I'm still saying this man, I honestly don't remember his name. It sounds messed up, but, I don't remember. If you know what character he is, he's a samurai, but if you don't, then he's just a random samurai, I guess. But basically, after this, the man asks Hiruzen, he's like, what if you told them that he was to be trained by a samurai? Hiruzen's like, they would see that the Nine-Tails demon in their eyes is getting stronger, and they wouldn't like it at all. And, the man says, well, this boy got kicked out of his orphanage, and if I can't take him, at least give him a home. And Hiruzen says, I would adopt him if I could, but the council also won't let me do anything. For a Hokage, I'm very powerless in my situation. The samurai then says, I believe this boy can handle himself, as young as he may be. He's smart. He also decides that he's going to leave Naruto a few scrolls that tells him how to do certain samurai moves and how to train to be as strong as a normal samurai. Even though he can and probably will use chakra, being able to use samurai techniques with chakra, he's probably going to be very powerful. That's what he's thinking. So, of course, he does plan on taking Naruto to his house so that he doesn't get beat up along the way. Hiruzen wrote him a paper and told him to go to this apartment area. He went there, they got the apartment. After that, basically the samurai puts Naruto in the room, and he tells Naruto, I'm going to be leaving you this scroll with my teachings, and never show anyone this, right? Never show anyone my teachings or my way unless you truly and genuinely trust them, or unless they are family to you. Naruto then nods his head, and, he tells Naruto, I know the villagers may be evil and they may hurt you, but never become evil because of them. I believe that you are a good child, and I believe that you will make a great change to this world. After that, the man heads out. And, Naruto, being a child, barely able to read because, he's a child, he starts practicing using the scroll basically to try to learn how to read and write. So, he'll grab a blank scroll, he'll practice writing, he'll do basic reading. He's been able to get taught by the teachers at his school because they basically send him out of the class every time he tries to go there. And that isn't the Ninja Academy, because you join the Ninja Academy when you're a certain age. But, Naruto, of course, he sees that there is a training regimen for those who are, those who are samurai. And he starts following to the T, not at all, like, faltering, trying to get not only his willpower stronger, but also his, just his body and mind, along with his willpower, is stronger. And if you're wondering, how is this small child doing this harsh samurai training? Remember, he's still technically a demon, and not really like a demon in the sense where the sun will hurt him type of thing, but a demon in the sense where he still gets the kind of boost. He doesn't have quite, not nearly as strong regeneration, but he does have regeneration to, with the Nine-Tails ability, a pretty dumb amount. Not near Kokushibo's ability or any demon ability, really, because, some demons can just fucking lose a limb and then regrow it. I'd say that Naruto, he does have enhanced I'd say that he's basically got Hashirama cells. That's the best way to put it. He could grow back an arm, but he won't be able to, grow back his head or anything. So if his head gets cut off, he's done for. If his arm gets cut off, he'll be out of commission for a while. And, stuff like that. If he gets cut in half, he's not growing back, his legs. At least they wouldn't be as strong. But with some medical ninjutsu combined with his healing, he could probably grow back a decent amount of limbs. But not currently, just because, that's a bit OP. Then, after that, Naruto, he starts training, and he starts realizing that, his breathing is a bit weird. For some reason, he breathes normally, but it doesn't feel comfortable to him. It feels kind of strange to him. And if you don't know a lot about Upper Moon 1, then I'll explain it later. But for now, for those who do know about him, just stick in there with me. So now, Naruto, he starts focusing more on his breathing over the rest of the period of time that he has left. And if you're wondering why he hasn't done any sword training, he can't get a sword. He doesn't have the kind of money he needs to get a sword. And he doesn't have, he doesn't have money, and the villagers just all around don't like him to where he can't get a sword. And, Naruto, he's disappointed by this, but he thinks that eventually he'll be able to get his sword, and eventually he'll be able to start doing the training that's on there. So, he starts focusing mostly on his body right now and his breathing. And eventually, over time, getting used to his breathing, he notices that one type of breathing will, strengthen him. It boosts his own strength. It bolsters him to such a crazy amount, but it's also very hard on his lungs. And he realizes, alright, well, how do I train my breathing? How do I train my lungs? He's like, that's, he can't really get his head around it too much. But he decides if anyone can, it's probably Hiruzen who can help him out with this kind of situation. So, of course, Naruto, he heads over to the Hokage's mansion. And this has been a few years, if you're wondering, after the samurais left. Sorry if I'm just not really specific on the times. This is all off the top of my head, and I'm trying to make this a movie. So, after that, he gets to Hiruzen. He's like, Gigi-sama. Hiruzen's like, yes, Naruto? He's like, how do I train my lungs or my breathing, Hiruzen's a bit confused by this, and Naruto's just like, well, how do I control my breathing? Because I get tired very fast when I'm running. You know, basically that's a lie, but you know, Hiruzen's like, well, I know some people actually have this type of thing where they control their breathing by just all around taking deep breaths and then long breaths more often. But some even try breaking pots with their breathing alone by breathing into the pot and blowing it up with all the air they're breathing out. And, you know, Naruto, he's like, that's genius, that's perfect. And, you know, he's like, thanks, Gigi-sama. You know, he runs out, and Hiruzen's happy to see Naruto is happy. And of course, the villagers still hate him, but at this point, Naruto's kind of gotten, like, in a sick way, he's gotten used to it. Like, he understands that the villagers hate him, but he can't really, he can't, like, he can't comprehend that the villagers could ever be nice to him. He only's ever seen them be mean to him, so he doesn't understand the idea of the villagers being nice, especially since he's a small child at this point, and his brain isn't developed enough to understand that all these people individually have lives and have chosen to hate him, you know. He just sees it as, well, they all hate me, and they hate me because they hate me, and I can't really do anything about it, so I might as well just ignore them. You know, that's the kind of mindset he has, which is a good thing. If people hating on you, man, fuck them. They can't tell you shit. You're amazing. I think you're amazing, and I give you my support. Hell yeah. But, alright, let me get back on track. After that, Naruto, he goes and he starts training his breathing. Eventually, his lungs get strong enough to where he can actually do the breathing that he found and not completely just collapse. So, you know, that's all doing well. And now, we're going to do another time skip to where the academy would start, right? So, this is right before the start of the academy. You know, Naruto's excited. He's about to go through his training to become a ninja. This is what his life has basically been about, to a point where, alright, I'm going to become a ninja samurai. But he still doesn't have a sword. And, you know, he has told Hiruzen on multiple occasions that he wants a sword and that he would really enjoy having one. And eventually, Hiruzen would sort of buckle, and he would tell Naruto, like, hey, before you go to the academy for your first day, I want to give you something. So come to the Hokage's office afterwards. Like, he told that to Naruto a week before. So, you know, Naruto, of course, this is right before the academy. He's about to head to the academy, and then he realized, wait, I have to go to Gigi-sama's office. And, you know, he runs over there quick. He heads over to Hiruzen. You know, he busts in there, and he's like, Hiruzen! But, of course, he says Gigi, but I'm just not going to say it for my own embarrassment. He's like, you wanted to give me something. What's up? And, you know, Hiruzen's like, Naruto, I want to tell you that I've seen that you've been training and growing stronger, and I really admire the fact that you've ignored what everyone else has said, and you've chosen to become stronger. So as a reward, I want to give you this. And, you know, Naruto, he's confused as Hiruzen pulls out, a long sort of box, and, you know, Naruto's still very confused. You know, Hiruzen's like, go ahead, open it, you know. Then Naruto, of course, he opens it, and he brings out this beautiful blade in his eyes. He sees this as an amazing blade. And it's kind of weird because they have, like, markings on them, right? To where their eyes there's, like, eyes on the blade, on the hilt, and on the blade of itself. And if you're wondering, yes, this is a katana, because, you know, that's just how it goes. So, this is a katana, and he just looks at it, and he notices, like, it matches his eyes, sort of. And, you know, he looks over at Hiruzen, and he's confused. And Hiruzen's like, the villagers may call you a demon, but I'd say the fact that they call you a demon, embrace it and work against it. You know, Naruto's confused. He's like, let them call you a demon. Because when you fight your enemies and you defeat them, you are a demon to them. You are horrifying to them. And that's going to happen, yes. But you use that name that they use to bring you down and bring yourself up with it. Become better with it, Naruto. You know, Naruto, he smiles, wide grin, and he's like, thank you. And he's like, thank you. He's going crazy, and he's hugging him, and, Hiruzen's, like, so happy right now, just because this is basically, like, other than Konohamaru, this is also his grandson, So, he's very happy to see that Naruto's happy, and of course, he's happy to see that, Naruto doesn't hate him. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering if Naruto saved Hinata, he did, but she's still scared of him. She's scared by his eyes, which is ironic, because the kids were making fun of her because of her eyes, so she's scared of him, So after that, Naruto, he puts the sword to his hilt, or to his hip, and he has, like, this way of keeping it on there. I don't fucking know what it's called, but he does. And if you're wondering what Naruto wears, I'd say he wears a sort of, like, he wears the sandals, of course, some, like, the leggings to a kimono, right? Like, the kind of leggings that a kimono would have, to where, not like leggings, I'd say, but I'm trying to think of here, the word I'm trying to use. Like, he has the kind of pants to where they're loose, kind of, but it's weird. They're, like, big pants to where, like, he could move around easy, and they're very loose looking, but they're tight around the hips so they don't fall. And, instead of having a kimono on top, he has a sort of, like, black shirt with, a few, like, a hint of, like, purple here and there. But, it's neither here nor there. So, then, after that, he has that long, Kokushibo hair, by the way. Basically, if you see Kokushibo's hair in the thumbnail, or probably in the picture that you're looking at right now, he has that kind of thing. So, after that, Naruto runs over to the academy, and then, basically everyone's introducing themselves, Kiba, Sasuke. He's not really emo yet, because the Uchiha clan massacre hasn't happened yet. And, basically, Naruto's there. He's like, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm going to be the first ninja samurai. Believe it! Everybody's like, what the hell is this issue? And of course, Naruto, he still hasn't really grown out of being loud-mouthed and stuff like that. So of course, he's still gonna be basically disliked by a lot of his classmates. To where even, like, in canon, like, Choji and Shikamaru would at least talk to him. But now, like, even though Shikamaru's a pretty smart kid, and Choji's also relatively smart for, like, not brain-wise, but at least, like, telling character-wise, they're still kind of, like, it's not like they don't like Naruto, it's just, he still sort of creeps them out, along with his, like, how his eyes are and stuff. So, Naruto tries his best to stay upbeat, but, of course, he still is hated, or just flat out trying to be avoided by his classmates. Sasuke's intrigued by his eyes. He's like, maybe that's a type of dojutsu, like the Sharingan. But then he realized that Naruto has it, like, in his eyes 24/7. So if it was a dojutsu, then it must not be a powerful one for it to not drain him at all over that time. That's what he thinks. Which, I mean, you could say that. After that, Naruto, he heads over to, Iruka, and he does, like, try to talk to Iruka, since that is the teacher. Iruka, of course, at this point, still doesn't really fully trust Naruto, nor want to talk to Naruto, at this point. So he does treat him like a student, but he still has that sort of kind of malice in the back of his mind, especially since it's the first day. But time skip a while, and the way it goes is Naruto's actually top of his class on most things, just because I'm gonna say that his breathing actually would help his chakra control. And if you're wondering how that works, chakra is the life force within your body, and concentrated breathing actually strengthens your body in all sorts of ways. So saying that it can help with chakra control isn't too crazy, I'd say. So, yeah. So now with Naruto not only having the power of, since he's not really able to use his sword in class, they gave him like a wooden katana to just use in the meantime in fights, just so he feels comfortable. But that's mostly like Iruka's doing, Mizuki doesn't really give a shit, but that's neither here nor there. So, whenever it's come to combat, people are allowed to use like wooden kunais at this point, especially since they're children. And freaking after that, of course Naruto's always the winner. Even in hand to hand, he still has a greater advantage over everyone, just purely from his speed, his strength, and his breathing, like his demon strength and his demon speed. And his fucking breathing on top of that makes him a force to be reckoned with. And if you don't know what kind of breathing he has, you'll figure it out later. And if you're wondering, does Naruto have his blood demon art yet? I'd say not yet. I'm gonna wait a little bit before we give him that. But for now, he doesn't really have his blood demon art. And if you're wondering if I know all of Kokushibo's moves, I'm not gonna hold you. I actually don't know them, but I do know how his attacks work. So I'm just gonna come up with shit as I go. So basically, after that, what do I want to say here? So yeah, now we're gonna time skip to a fight between Naruto and Sasuke. This is now after the Uchiha clan massacre, so Sasuke has gone full emo boy. I hate Itachi and everyone who associates with Itachi and everyone with an I in their name, and Naruto doesn't have an I, but Kokushibo might, I don't know, actually. I can't think of it on the top of my head. I look like a dumbass, but we're just gonna ignore that for now. So now, Naruto, he of course, he rushes at Bakugo, and alright. Now, like I was saying, he rushes at Sasuke. I've never even seen someone accidentally do that. Just, God, what's wrong with me? So he rushes at Sasuke, and of course, he throws a punch towards Sasuke, because right now he's not using his katana, just because he doesn't feel like it's necessary at this point. And Sasuke, he narrowly dodges it, and then he tries to throw a punch at Naruto. Naruto then catches that punch with his other free hand, and then pulls Sasuke in and knees him in the gut. And that knee alone already knocked out Sasuke. Sasuke's done. Everybody in the class is booing Naruto. The girls are like, Naruto, you cheated. You can't beat Sasuke-kun. Sasuke-kun is too strong. Even though it's not even like that. Naruto hasn't beat him before. This is often, like, this is a common occurrence, so they should be used to it, but they're not. So yeah. After that, Naruto of course ignores all their comments, and he looks around to see if anyone really had any support for him. And I've got to come up with a ship right now, actually. Let me think. I think I have an idea for a ship. Alright. So yeah, nobody really supported him at all. At all. So Naruto is just like, it doesn't matter, I guess. So After this, Naruto, of course, he heads out of the academy, and we'll time skip once again to the end of the academy, alright? And with Naruto's breathing and his enhanced chakra control and the fact that he trains every day, not only in his swordsmanship, but also his, just all around chakra control and chakra manipulation type stuff, uh, he passes with flying colors, even with the Nine Tails trying to disrupt him. Which is crazy, because that's a clone genjutsu. That's how that clone jutsu works. They have to do a clone genjutsu. Which doesn't make sense. How the fuck did Lee pass? But we're not going to talk about it. And then Naruto now, he starts heading out. And he's like, Naruto, I need to talk to you. Naruto's confused. And then Mizuki, he's like, Naruto, the part of the exam you passed, since you're top student, you actually have to do an extra thing. And, Naruto got confused by this, and he's like, oh, really? For some reason, it's just like this aura that he gives off, but he can tell that Mizuki's like lying to him, right? But he can tell that Mizuki's like lying to him, and he doesn't like it too much. But he's like, what's up, Mizuki, then? What do I need to do? Let me get closer. Mizuki's then like, well, Naruto, you actually need to get the scroll of sealing from the Hokage's office and then bring it back to me from outside of the village. Naruto, he's like, okay, I understand. Basically, Mizuki's like, good job. Don't get caught. That's one of the requirements, of course, as a ninja. And as a samurai, you would probably rush in head first, but as a ninja, you also need to know how to be stealthy. Naruto, he obliges, and he's like, alright. So after that, he walks off. Mizuki laughs to himself. He's like, the damn Nine-Tails brat. He'll never know. After that, Naruto goes to the Hokage's office, and he does tell, Hiruzen what happened and what Mizuki said, and, Hiruzen immediately knows what's going on. And, basically, Naruto says, if Mizuki tells that an Ambu, or basically another ninja is coming, then he's gonna run, he's gonna get away, probably. And, Hiruzen's like, as much as I wish I could disagree, Mizuki isn't necessarily a bad Chunin level ninja. He's close to even being a Jonin. Because we're gonna buff up Mizuki, because why not? He deserves it. He's a great guy. But, he does tell Naruto that, well, if you're gonna go after Mizuki, then you're gonna need to, we're gonna send Ambu, or at least someone, to come get you, and we're also gonna send out a fake search party, just in order to make it look like it's real. And, the Chunins and below won't know about it, but the Jonins will, so don't worry about getting caught too much. Naruto's like, don't worry, I already grabbed the scroll. And, he pulls it out. And, Hiruzen's surprised because he didn't even realize Naruto grabbed the scroll. So, after that, Naruto then starts heading out, since at this point he went in the dark. So, Hiruzen sends out the fake message, and Mizuki goes out to the forest. Naruto meets Mizuki there. He goes to, like, he sits in the forest before then, and he's like, should I look at some of these jutsu? Naruto is curious, but he's also like, that would be a betrayal to Gigi, So he decides not to look at it. So yeah, Naruto will not have shadow clones, just because I feel like a bunch of shadow clones that are at least, like, using moon breathing would kind of be overpowered, since, that's kind of OP and broken. And I don't see Naruto really needing to learn any sorts of normal jutsu from how I'm gonna make him, so yeah. So, of course, Naruto, he's there, and then he keeps the scroll closed, and he sits there. And then Mizuku drops in. He's like, "Did you read the scroll?" And Naruto's like, "No, you just told me to bring it here." You know, Mizuki's like, "Yeah, that's good." And he's like, "All right, Naruto, give it to me." You know, Naruto's like, "Of course." He slowly starts approaching Mizuki. You know, Mizuki, he's starting to get excited, and she's about to get to Orochimaru. And right before Naruto or Mizuki could do anything, basically, what's his fucking name? I forgot. What's his name? There we go. Iruka. So Iruka jumps in and he's like, "Naruto, why would you take the scroll of sealing? And Mizuki, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, you're getting the scroll from Naruto. Good." He jumps down there. He's like, "Yeah, just hand it over to Mizuki." You know, Mizuki knows that if he tries to run away with the scroll with Iruka after him, he won't get away, or at least he'll be slowed down enough to where Amu could probably catch up to him. So, as, Iruka smiles and stuff, and he's about to be alright, Mizuki pulls out his Demon Wind Shuriken and chucks it at Naruto, knowing what Iruka's about to do. Naruto, he steps back, he's expecting to, he's like, "Shit, I didn't expect him to attack." And he goes to reach for his sword, but immediately Iruka jumps in the way of the Demon Wind Shuriken, and Naruto's stunned. He doesn't know what the hell just happened. He runs over to Iruka, dropping the scroll. He's like, "Iruka, what happened? What? Why would you do that?" Iruka is basically standing there, and of course Mizuki yells out, "Why would you protect that demon brat?" He's like, "That nine-tailed fox, it killed your parents, Iruka. Why would you protect him?" And Naruto's confused. And Iruka, he's like, "No, Mizuki, don't tell him." Mizuki then tells Naruto about how he's the Nine Tails and how the Nine Tails killed Iruka's family and parents, and how Iruka probably hated him and he didn't understand why Iruka would just help Naruto out like that. And Naruto looks at Iruka and he's like, "Iruka, why would you do that for me? If all of that's true, why would you do that to me? Do that for me." And Iruka's like, "I know you, Naruto, and you're a good kid. I don't believe that you should, be treated the way that you are treated just for how the Nine Tails was." And, Naruto, he feels like tears fall from his eye. And, Iruka, he's lost a lot of blood at this point, so he's passing out, but Naruto isn't fully, aware that he's just passed out only. So he thinks that Iruka just died in his arms. And now, Iruka being one of the only three, which, if you're wondering who the three are, Iruka, Hiruzen, and Ichiraku and his daughter, which he counts one together, but yeah. Those are the people who care about him the most in his life, and those are the people who only care about him in his life. So losing one of those three hits hard. So Naruto, of course, he lays Iruka down, and he's like, and then he looks over, and Mizuki at this point, he had grabbed the scroll, and he's laughing. He's like, "If I bring you along with me, Orochimaru, he'll be so proud and grateful that I've brought even the Nine Tails with me. So come peacefully, Naruto, or you'll die like Iruka." Naruto then reaches for his blade, and, Mizuki knows that he's gonna put up a fight, but Mizuki doesn't know how strong Naruto is just because he never really felt like fighting Naruto. So, Mizuki rushes with his own, and he throws another Demon Wind Shuriken at Naruto. And, to his surprise, Naruto cuts the shuriken in half and immediately rushes past it, going straight at Mizuki. Mizuki, he goes and pulls out a kunai and he goes to slash towards Naruto. Naruto parries this kunai and then slashes Mizuki right in the gut, immediately digging deep to where, if this was to where someone committed seppuku, for example, this would be where they cut out the gut. And it would not cut out the gut, that's not during seppuku. Seppuku would be where they cut off the head. But this is the disrespectful version, where he just cut out his gut and jumped up, and, as Mitsuki goes to hold his gut, Naruto spins and cuts off his head. Naruto, like the samurai he is, he flicks the blood off his blade, then he slowly sheathes it, and right as it fully falls into its sheath, making that sheathing sound, of course, Mizuki's body falls to the floor dead. So, as this happened, Hiruzen and a few Anbu rush over, and, they see that Mizuki is down, and, they see that, Mizuki's down for the count. Like, he's not gonna get up anytime soon. Then they get Iruka, they start treating him immediately, some medical ninjutsu. They tell Naruto that Iruka's gonna be fine, he's just gonna need a little bit of rest. Hiruzen tells Naruto it's a good job, and he even beat a Chunin level ninja, which surprises even himself. Naruto, he's happy that, Hiruzen's recognizing him, and he's happy that, he's happy that, Iruka. He's happy that Iruka's alive, but Danzo, seeing this as an opportunity, he of course tells the village, he spreads around a rumor. Did you know that the Nine-Tails brat killed a Chunin level ninja? And he killed he killed a Chunin level ninja, and not just any kind of Chunin level ninja, a leaf ninja. So, now anyone who is unsure of Naruto being evil is like, they're like, well, now he has to be evil. He killed a ninja, not just any kind of ninja, our ninja, So his treatment from that day gets worse. And, Hiruzen does try to tell people, like, Naruto actually saved, the scroll of sealing, but then they talk about how Hiruzen told everyone that Naruto stole the scroll of sealing, which that kind of backfired on Hiruzen now, because now more people hate Naruto. Naruto, he's like, it's fine. He ignores them all. He's like, it's fine, Hiruzen. If they hate me, they hate me. If they don't, they don't. Of course, this is now during the Team 7 day, or not the Team 7 day, but the team meeting day. The teams, I'm gonna say it's the same, to where, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura jumps up. She's like, I'm with Sasuke-kun, yay! And, not Naruto, but Sasuke's like, damn it, I'm with the pink banshee, all that stuff. Naruto, he's like, it's fine, he thinks to himself, it's fine. Sasuke's gonna be, a decent training partner, and, Sakura, he doesn't like Sakura, of course, not at all. He's just like, Sakura's quite annoying, like, that's the type of mindset he has with it. But, yeah, eventually now, Naruto is gonna go to meet, Naruto's, alright, my mind got back into things. Now, after an hour of waiting, Kakashi finally walks in. Naruto's not immature enough to do the eraser prank. He's still a kid in a sense, but he's not just completely immature kid, To the point where, when Kakashi walks in, he's like, my first impression, I hate you all. And, he goes up, he's like, meet me up on the roof. He does a body flicker, which, they all can't do body flicker, but Naruto, due to the fact that he's been training basically his whole life, he knows how to wall walk. So he goes and jumps from the window and starts walking up the wall. Sakura and Sasuke have never seen Naruto do this, and have never even trained to do this. So, Naruto looks back, he's like, what are you guys doing? And they're confused, like, what do you mean, dope? That's what Sasuke says. And he's like, aren't you guys gonna come, or what? Sasuke grits his teeth, and Sakura's like, we can't do that, you idiot. Only demons can do that. Demons like you. I knew my mom was right. And, basically, Naruto's like, This is a basic ninja technique, literally Genin level. If you don't know how to do this, I don't know what to tell you. You know, he keeps walking up the building, and Sasuke's pissed after hearing that, and Sakura's angry that, you know, not really what Naruto said to her, but how Naruto basically disrespected and said that Sasuke doesn't know the basics. Like, of course Sasuke could walk on that wall like Naruto, but he just doesn't feel like it. That's what she's saying to herself in her own mind. Sasuke, of course, he's pissed. He's like, how does that dope know how to do that, but I don't? You know, I'll get him for that. You know, so of course, they head there to the stairs. Naruto got up there, you know, he was talking to Kakashi like, you should teach me how to do that since you're my sensei. Kakashi's like, we'll see, you know. After that, they're all like, alright, everyone, introduce yourself. Sasuke is like, my name is Sasuke Uchiha. I am the last of the Uchiha clan, and I have a goal to kill a certain someone. You know, Sakura's like, oh my god, Sasuke! Sasuke-kun! But, Naruto's just like, what a bunch of weirdos. So, you know, Sakura, she's like, blah blah blah, Sasuke, blah blah blah, Sasuke, blah blah blah, Mary, blah blah blah, Sasuke again, blah blah blah, children, blah blah blah, 14 of them, blah blah blah. Sasuke, he's like, he didn't catch too much, but he did catch the children and 14, and he's like, not happening, you know. Naruto's like, well, my name's Naruto Uzumaki, and I want to be a ninja samurai. That is my whole goal. Thank you. And if you're wondering why Naruto isn't yelling out and all that, he's really not in the mood lately. Like, he tried to stay upbeat as much as possible, but the village hate has kind of been starting to get to him. As much as, you know, Naruto tries to ignore them, with that much hate in the air and how good his senses are, he can tell that a lot of people right now do not like him, nor want to at all attempt to like him. So, of course, Naruto decides, you know, alright, well, they don't like me right now. And, you know, he of course, usually, he doesn't give two craps about what they think. But as a kid who's barely, like, 12 at this point, of course, it's going to get to his mental a little bit, the fact that everyone hates him. So, yeah. After that, Naruto and Kakashi explains, like, tomorrow we're going to be doing a bell test. Don't eat or you'll throw up. And if you do eat, then you're going to throw up. So don't. And, you know, basically, Sasuke is like, alright. Naruto can kind of sense the lying from Itachi. Or, not, why was I going to say Itachi? Kakashi. And he's like, alright, yeah, sure. You know, Sakura's like, fine. And they all head off their own separate ways. Naruto, of course, jumps from building to building because he's a badass. Sasuke and Sakura are pissed that they can't do that. Well, mostly Sasuke. Sakura's pissed that Sasuke won't do that with her in his arms. But, you know, it is what it is. After that, we're going to time skip to the next day. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, they got to the training field on time. And Sasuke, of course, you know, well, everyone's complaining, except for Naruto, really, about how hungry they are and how they want food. You know, Sakura's like, why aren't you complaining, demon? I expected you to be the first one to complain. And Naruto's like, oh, that's simple. I ate. And, you know, Sakura and Sasuke are like, what? You ate? But he said to not eat. You know, of course, Naruto's like, well, that's my bad, I guess. You know, after that, he sits down and he chills out, and of course Sasuke and Sakura are kind of annoyed that Naruto just completely chill, and so they're just chilling out waiting for Kakashi, and he gets there about an hour later. You know, Sakura's like, you're late. You know, Kakashi's like, I got lost on the path of life. You know, of course, you know, Sakura's like, that's a crappy excuse. Naruto doesn't really care, but he's starting to get a little bit hungry, while Sasuke and Sakura are starving, right? Kakashi notices, and he's like, Naruto, did you eat? He's like, yeah, I could tell you were lying. You're like, then why didn't you tell your teammates? He's like, he points over to Sakura. He's like, you demon, why didn't you tell us? And, Kakashi kind of gets the gist of it. And he's like, alright, well then, if that's all, alright, I'm gonna start this training out. Basically, Sasuke and Sakura are a bit confused. He's like, you see these two bells? Whoever gets these bells from me will pass. Whoever does not will not pass. And he's like, yeah, but there are only 2 bells. And there's 3 of us. He's like, yep, one of you will be being sent back to the academy. And if you can't get the bells back before sunset, then all of you will be going back to the academy. Of course, Sakura's like, what? That's not... And then she thinks about it. She's like, if I can get those bells, that means that me and Sasuke-kun can stay together on one team. And, Sasuke is like, I can get this pink banshee off my team. I don't like Naruto, but at least he's reasonable, I don't like hearing her in my ear 24/7, And Naruto's like, this doesn't seem right. I've never heard of a 2-man team. Or at least a 3-man team. Naruto, he's like, are you sure that's right? Kakashi's like, yeah. Naruto, of course, just like before, can kind of sense this lie in a way. It's like, I know it's like a weird ability I'm giving him, but it's just an intuition kind of thing. And of course, like, with his senses so dramatically increased, he can tell, like, the slightest differences in a lie. Even though, like, but it's hard to tell with, like, people like Kakashi, for example, just because Kakashi is, like, a former Anbu member, for fuck's sake. Like, of course, he'd be hard to tell if he was lying. But, since Kakashi doesn't really think of Naruto as an enemy, he's not really gonna focus on trying to hide the fact that he's lying right now. But, of course, Naruto, he's like, alright, if you say so. After that, Sasuke, he's, what can I say? Everyone, they stand and, he's like, alright, guys. He gets a little bit of distance. He's like, ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. So this time, Sasuke and Sakura jump into, the bushes. Naruto stays out there, and, Kakashi pulls out his book. Naruto says, so how far do you wish me to go in this fight? And then Kakashi, he looks over at him. He's like, what do you mean by that? And Naruto explains, can I use my sword? He's like, come at me with killing intent, He's like, alright, I know you're a Jonin, so you'll handle it. So, of course, Naruto slowly pulls out his sword, He takes in that deep breath as he focuses his breathing. At this point, he has not unlocked he's not trained total concentration, so he doesn't do his breathing 24/7. But, he's starting to get that cusp to where he knows that he starts to need to, through, like, his experience with Mitsuki and stuff. So he rushes at at Kakashi, he immediately slashes towards Kakashi's arm where he's holding his sword, right? Kakashi easily dodges this, and he sends a kick straight at Naruto's head. Naruto, due to his, like, demon's sort of sight, and, of course, his breathing at this point, he's narrowly able to dodge this as he sends another, like, slash towards Kakashi. This time, Kakashi's starting to realize that Naruto's not really to be messed with too much. He's like, he keeps his book out, but he keeps, like, backing up, trying to get Naruto. He's not really paying as much attention as he want to his book, right? Eventually, Naruto, he goes for a slash at Kakashi's arm again. Kakashi goes to dodge it. And, he basically did dodge it, but what he didn't realize that Naruto curved his blade slightly, or to like, he curved his turn of the slash of his blade to where he'd slash at the bells. And, basically because, Kakashi barely noticed it, but because he did notice it, he, did a substitution in time for the bells. And, basically, they get cut off, even though, but Kakashi doing his substitution, they turn to leave as, the bells get into his hand. He's like, that was a close one. You almost had me there. Kakashi then ties it to the other side of his hip. He closes his book and he's like, I'll get serious with you now. After that, Naruto, he's happy that, Kakashi's starting to take him a bit more seriously. As, he gets into his stance. And, Kakashi's curious. He's like, moon breathing, first form. And then, basically he jumps at Kakashi a lot faster than before. And he's like, crescent slash. He sends a normal sort of slash at, Kakashi. But it's like exceedingly fast. Kakashi was narrowly able to dodge it as it like cut into his uniform slightly. And Kakashi, he's like, what the hell? He's confused by like how fast Naruto went with this, because he didn't expect that. But Naruto, he then, grips his blade. He's like, don't take me lightly, Kakashi. And if you're wondering, the effects that would normally happen, where there would be a bunch of small crescent slashes along with it, that doesn't happen really here, since Naruto can't use his blood demon art yet. I'm gonna save that for a little bit at least. So yeah, Naruto, of course, he keeps slashing and cutting at Kakashi, and he keeps using about up to 3 forms of of moon breathing, but he still can't really get the bells as this time he jumps back, creating some distance as he puts the tip of his blade to the ground, and then he basically does a spinning type of breathing move in order to make a sort of dust cloud, right? And Kakashi's confused by this, and then he realizes that Naruto's trying to cheat in order to talk to his teammates. So of course he'll let it happen, and he basically makes himself a shadow clone, and he does a sort of jutsu to get into the ground. Headhunter, we'll say. But so after that, Naruto, eventually, using his increased senses, he easily finds Sasuke and Sakura. As Sakura keeps being like, we should work together, Sasuke, that way you can get Naruto out of here. After that, Naruto lands, and he's like, guys, we need to work together for this test, or else we're not going to be able to pass. Sasuke, being the arrogant guy he is, he's like, I don't need your help, I can do it all by myself. Sakura is, of course, the same way. She's like, I'm not gonna help a demon, I'm only gonna help Sasuke-kun. Of course, Naruto's like, the whole reason for this test is for us to work as a team. If we're not gonna work as a team, we can't beat him. Of course, Sasuke, he's like, listen, dope, unless you have anything useful to say, don't say it. He starts to go to walk off, but right as that happens, his ankles get grabbed as he gets pulled into the ground, right? And, well, not him. Actually, Sakura goes to walk off with him, but right before she can, her ankles get grabbed from the ground as she gets pulled in, and only her head pops out. As, Kakashi bursts from the ground behind her, and he's like, hey, guys. Basically, Naruto and Sasuke are surprised by this move. Immediately, Sasuke goes and starts getting ready to do a fire-style fireball jutsu straight at Kakashi. Basically, Naruto realizes that Sakura's head is about to get fucking burnt to a crisp. So, of course, being the person he is, he kicks Sasuke out of the way. Sasuke hits the tree. He's like, what the hell, man? Naruto points at Sakura. He's like, were you about to melt her fucking face off? Because he knows that, Sasuke can do a fireball jutsu. He's had it happen towards him before. He's like, I was gonna aim upwards. He's like, that has a wide range. It would have hit her. And Sasuke, he's like, tch. But before Sasuke can really say anything, he notices that Kakashi isn't behind Naruto like he's supposed to be. And he's like, huh? Where is he? You know, secret ninja art, 1,000 years of death! As Sasuke gets hit from behind and sent flying, Naruto's like, huh? That technique? What is it? You know, and immediately, you know, Kakashi gets up and he's like, that is my ultimate technique. No ninja can defeat it. You know, basically Naruto backs away. He's like, stay back. You know, he pulls out his sword again, and then Kakashi poofs. You know, Naruto realizes that Kakashi's trying to use this technique against him, so he immediately turns around and sends a slash straight behind him, not even fully knowing if Kakashi's that way. You know, Kakashi had to dodge because he nearly got his neck slashed by that. And he's like, whoo, nearly, okay, that was dangerous. So then, you know, he rushes towards Naruto since he's the only one capacitated right now. As Naruto starts fighting him, and at this point he's like, alright, I should focus on just purely fighting him to fight, not really try and get the bells, because if I focus on the bells right now, I'm gonna die, or lose. Not really die, but I'm gonna lose. So, you know, he focuses this time all of his efforts into fighting Kakashi, and now he's really getting some leeway in, because now he's starting to push Kakashi back. You know, he's starting to fight, especially with his strength. I'd say he's not stronger than Might Guy right now, but he's definitely stronger than Kakashi is physically than, what's it called? He's stronger than Kakashi physically right now in his current state. If Kakashi really just, like, opened a gate or whatever, then he'd be stronger than Naruto. But right now, with nothing out and him not taking out a Sharingan, Naruto's physical strength, by the way, that's what I'm talking about, his physical strength is stronger than Kakashi's. So, you know, when Kakashi goes to knock the sword out of Naruto's hand, he immediately, you know, he pulls his sword back, which, you know, Kakashi's a bit confused by it. He kicks Kakashi in the chest, and he's like, if you just focus on my blade, then I'll be able to beat you with anything else, you know, right? And Kakashi realizes that Naruto isn't just a blade fighter, he's an all-around sort of fighter, to where he can fight with both his swords, and he can fight without it. So at this point, you know, after that, Kakashi realizes he has to take Naruto more seriously. You know, he rushes at Naruto this time, and, you know, Naruto sends a slash straight down at Kakashi. Kakashi dodges this and goes to throw a punch at Naruto, right? And to his surprise, when he punches Naruto, Naruto turns to a log, as right when that happens, he turns around and he sees that Naruto's come up behind him, and he goes for a slash right at Kakashi's, like, to where it seemed like he'd cut Kakashi in half if it lands. So Kakashi, you know, he jumps up and, like, goes to dodge it, right? To where he had to jump to where he'd go to a sided angle in order to dodge. You know, he does that, he narrowly dodges it. You know, Kakashi goes to, like, punch Naruto, and Naruto, like, puts his hand up, basically looking like he surrendered, right? And Kakashi's confused, like, what is he doing? You know, right? Like, why would he just do that? And of course he stopped his punch because it looked like Naruto just gave up. He's like, do you give up? He's like, no, actually. You know, Kakashi's like, then why'd you bring your hands up? You know, he pulls out 2 bells. He's like, I got him. And, you know, basically Kakashi looks at the time, and it's barely before dark out. You know, Sasuke and Sakura are still incapacitated. Sakura's been awake the whole time, but she can't move. Sasuke, he's on the ground thinking about, you know, his manhood and if he really is straight. But we all know he's not. But shit. After this, Naruto, of course, is like, well, Kakashi, of course, he pulls him out and he ties him to the stump. And he's like, for not, you know, the whole point of this was teamwork, even though Naruto got the bells. Yeah. Well, actually, no, he doesn't explain the bells, but he does tie them to the post. He's like, now, Naruto, who do you want to give the second bell to? You know, Sakura, she's like, you should give it to Sasuke-kun. Sasuke-kun deserves to be a ninja. And then, Naruto looks over at her. He's like, are you saying that, you don't want to be a ninja with Sasuke? And she's like, she looks down. And of course she still wants to be with Sasuke, but she doesn't want to hold back his dream of being a ninja. So of course she's like, Naruto, just give us your bells or something. I don't know. She knows, like, she wants, she says that, but she knows, like, only a dumbass would just give their bells away, especially since it's the only way to pass. As he does exactly what she asked. He gives them both the bells. Sasuke, he's confused, like, Naruto, why would you give us your bells? Or at least Sakura. He's like, doesn't matter really. And, Kakashi then explains, well then, Naruto, you guys pass! They're all confused, like, what about Naruto? Does he get sent to the academy? He's like, for one, Naruto's stronger than all of you. Why would I send him to the academy? Sasuke is angered by this. Sakura's like, he's not stronger than Sasuke-kun. And, after that, Kakashi explains that the whole point of this test was teamwork. But since none of you decided to use teamwork, except for Naruto, who attempted it at least, normally you all would fail, but due to Naruto's extreme kindness to you all, which I don't even understand, you guys pass. Don't take it for granted. Don't take Naruto for granted, because he's the only reason you are a ninja right now. And, yeah. I'll meet you guys for training. He walks off. Naruto's like, I'm tired. I'll see you guys later. He hops off. And, basically, Sakura's happy that she passed and Sasuke, but he tries to hide it. And then they realize something. Wait. We're still tied to this stupid stump! Alright, well, give me a minute. I'm gonna pause the recording here. I'm not gonna stop recording, but I'm just gonna pause for right now, have a little break, eat some snacks, watch a little bit of YouTube, and then I'm gonna get back into it. And yeah, thank you guys. I'll be back. Yo, I'm back. Alright, I had lunch. That was delicious. But anywho, where I left off, they were locked on a stump. Alright, yeah, that's where that happened. So now we're gonna time skip. Team 7 has been working together. They've been training a little bit together, but mostly have been doing, like, D-rank missions. Just catching cats, finding a lost dog, helping people. Deku's fine with this, because, he doesn't really care. He thinks helping people is a better way to get more people to like him, so he's fine with it. He just, he'd rather not, like, what's the word I'm looking for? He'd rather not just not help people. He doesn't see anything wrong with it, per se. But people still give him sour looks even after they help him. So, he's hoping that it will help over time, but it isn't really going to do anything. Did I say Deku? I hope I didn't say Deku. I thought I said Naruto. Naruto. Alright. So basically, they walk into Hiruzen's office, and he's like, hello there, Team 7. I was just about to get a D-class mission ready for you. Sasuke walks up. With all due respect, Lord Hokage, I'm an Uchiha elite. These trivial missions aren't good enough for me. Sakura's like, yeah, Sasuke-kun's too amazing to be doing this type of stuff. And then Naruto, Hiruzen looks over, he's like, Naruto, what do you think of all this? He's like, well, I guess a C-rank mission would do us well. Hopefully, if it's not disrespectful for me to ask. Because he's in that kind of mode where it's like, this isn't Gigi right now, this is the Hokage, and I have to show him respect. God, what the hell is that? Ah! God! Hello? Oh my god, what's going on? Ah, Jesus Christ. Oh, there we go. It's gone. What the fuck happened? Alright, yeah, sorry about that static sound. I don't even know what the fuck happened. It just happened naturally, I guess. Let me try. There you go. Hopefully I'm not disturbing you with my sensual voice. If you can't tell, I have boogers in my fucking nose. This always happens when I try to record a video. My nose is always stuffy. But yeah. Like I was saying, Naruto, he's respectful when he's around the Hokage during, like, his missions and when he has to actually be a ninja. But, when they're alone, he's like GG, but right now he's like Lord Hokage, you know what I mean? But, now, Hiruzen strokes his beard, and then he looks over at Kakashi. He's like, do you think your team is ready for the C rank? Kakashi's like, well, I think most of my team is ready. Sasuke's reasonably strong. Naruto, I do believe he's easily ready for a C rank. And Sakura, I'll be there, so it'll be okay. Sakura, she takes that hit to the chin. She's like, I'm stronger than Naruto. I'm weaker than Sasuke, but I'm definitely stronger than Naruto. Naruto's just an idiot who's weaker. That's what she's thinking in her head, but Sasuke's like, did he just call that dope stronger than me? He's pissed. But Hiruzen's like, alright, bring in the bridge builder, Tazuna walks in, he's drunk, he's like, are these the saps who are gonna be protecting me? Look at a bunch of kids. One guy has a little sword, the other one's just a shorty, the other one has a big forehead. He takes another drink. Naruto's like, Sasuke pissed, Sakura's pissed, Sasuke's about to walk up and fight this guy. Then Naruto puts his hand in front of Sasuke, and he's like, this is our client, Sasuke. That's not professional if you just go up and beat him up. And Sasuke's like, what would you know, dope? He's about to try to fight Naruto in the middle of the Hokage's office. Basically, Iruka hits Sasuke on the head. He's like, listen, you both are in presence of the Lord Hokage. You can't be acting like this. He's like, Naruto, you tried to stop him, so I won't hit you. And, Naruto's like, thanks. This is favoritism. That's what Sasuke's thinking. But, after that, Hiruzen's like, well, this is your mission. You'll protect Lord Tazuna. Or, wait, Tazuna, right? Yeah, Tazuna. You protect Tazuna, the bridge builder, and I said Lord Tazuna. That's crazy. You protect Tazuna, the bridge. English is a hard language. The bridge builder, and they're like, so Naruto's like, okay, and Sasuke's like, yeah, whatever, and Sakura's like, Sasuke-kun. Every time I go to Sasuke, it's just like, she's like, Sasuke, cool. But yeah. Now where are we gonna go from here? So after that, yeah, we're gonna time skip to the next day. Everyone meets at the front of the village. Kakashi is on time for once for a mission. And yeah. Now they're heading out towards the land of waves, So they're heading there, They're in the formation stuff. Kakashi's like, remember to keep your eye out. That's me yawning, not Kakashi. I'm just lazy. But remember to keep your eye out. Watch out for anything. You never know who's after him. Though, I doubt it's any ninja just because it's a C rank. It's probably just some thugs. So, as they're walking, Naruto and Kakashi notice this weird puddle on the ground. Kakashi can tell that this is, he knows what this is. And, he looks over at Naruto. Naruto also has realized. He looks over to Sasuke and Sakura, and they haven't realized. So after that, Kakashi keeps walking like he doesn't know, and seeing how Kakashi acts, Naruto does the same. And then after that, the demon brothers hop out of the puddle, and then they slash Kakashi in half, seemingly. And then they rush over, immediately not even giving them a chance to understand what the hell happened. As you know, as they rush over at Gato, Sasuke and Sakura. Well, why am I saying like and Sakura? Surprisingly, but Sakura and Sasuke actually, what's the word I'm looking for? They hesitate for a moment, seeing Kakashi get killed so easily, but immediately Naruto appears in front of these guys, and then he slashes at them like quickly. He cuts one demon brother's arm off, the one with the poison, and then he immediately goes to not discombobulate, but disarm the other one. Yeah, he goes immediately to disarm the other one. Before he can, they jump back, but Naruto keeps rushing. He's handling this 2v1 right now. And Sakura's like, what should we do, Sasuke? And Sasuke's like, you just protect the bridge builder. And he rushes over to help Naruto. After that, but before he can really help, Naruto already handled it, so there was no really need. He basically just cut their legs, not like off, but he cut it to where like they can't move quite easily right now. Basically he holds his blade up to them. He's like, alright, tell me who hired you and what are you doing here? They're like we're gonna tell a kid like you, you won't do shit, Then, right as they say that, he stabs right next to one of their heads. Basically, they're like, we still know you won't do anything about it. So, Naruto's... God, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? Alright. Here we go. It happened again. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright. Well, like I said before, Gato realizes that, not Gato, but, they realize that, they're in big shit, so they basically tell Naruto, yeah, Gato hired them, and ahead of them will be another ninja stronger than them, and yada yada yada. And then after that, Kakashi drops down from a tree. He's like, good job, guys. Well, Naruto. And then he walks over to the demon brothers, cuts their heads off, or at least slashes their necks. Basically, Sasuke and Sakura are like disgusted by this. Less Sasuke, more Sakura. Just because Sasuke, he saw his whole fucking clan die. God, what the fuck's going on with my mic? Give me a second, guys. Alright, I'm back. I think I handled the issue with the mic. Fuck, I hurt my hand though. But, yeah. Now, where was I? Yeah, Sasuke, he's not as, like, freaked out as Sakura could be because, Uchiha Clan Massacre. And Naruto, for some reason, isn't too offset by this. Also, he's killed before. But, Naruto's not too offset by this. But, he is a little bit, just because he isn't used to just immediately, people around him just fucking dying. He isn't used to just killing people off rip. But, since he is Kokushibo's reincarnation, he is, in a way, used to death. So, you're shaking again, Jesus Christ. Back again, sorry. I got texted by Chosen. If you don't know who that is, it's the Chosen Weeb, bro. That nigga's amazing. Fuck, alright. Now, where was I? Yeah, but basically, Naruto's not really too used to death yet, but thanks to his reincarnation status and the fact that he's also killed before, he's not too offset compared to everybody else. So, of course, Sakura's like, why'd you kill them? They were already down. Then, Kakashi explains, like, hey, they were gonna kill us, for one, and for two, their bounties, and for three, it would be a waste to just hold them here with us the entire time. And if we let them go, they're just gonna chase us. So, better to get rid of the target before then, Naruto understands this, and, he's like, alright, I guess I understand. And Sasuke is also a bit offset by this, but he's like, I have to be able to get used to this, or I'll never kill Itachi. You know, Sakura's like, well, if I have to do it for Sasuke-kun, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, that's how everybody gets used to it, and they continue on their journey, you know. After they continue on their journey, they eventually, do they fight? Yeah. So, you know, eventually, while they're on their way again, they run into this kind of, well, no, not Naruto, he doesn't have any kunai or anything like that, but, Kakashi, he throws a kunai, and then, you know, basically, the kunai goes into the bushes, and it, you know, goes towards the rabbit, and the rabbit hops out, and, you know, Sakura's like, oh my god, a cute little snow rabbit, you know, basically, Naruto's like, aren't they not in season right now? And then, you know, Kakashi's like, yeah, why? And, like, I mean, that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? And, yeah, Kakashi's like, yeah, that is. And then, after that, a mysterious sort of mist starts to roll in. And, God, is there something? Yeah, there we go. And, before anyone can really do anything or say anything, Kakashi yells, duck! But, you know, so everyone ducks except for Naruto, who actually used his own sword to block as he completely stopped, actually, what's his fucking name? Zabuza's blade. You know, Zabuza is like, how the hell did a brat stop my blade? You know? So, you know, he pulls his sword back as he jumps back. You know, basically Kakashi gets up, he's like, good job, Naruto. You know, he gets up, and he's like, you know, of course, Zabuza says his normal thing. He says, the Kakashi Hatake of the Sharingan. You know, Sasuke's like, the Sharingan? What does he mean by that? No way. Kakashi isn't an Uchiha. I don't think he is, at least, right? You know. And after that, you know, basically they're just not saying anything to each other, really. You know, he's like, shall we, you know, fight then, you know? And then, let me think here. Yep. So after that, Kakashi basically tells them to stay back and protect Hazuna while he fights against Zabuza. And, you know, Naruto's alright with that. So is Sakura. You know, Sasuke's like, I should prove myself against this guy. No, he's nearly as strong as Itachi. And if he isn't as strong as Itachi, then I can beat him. I can even beat Itachi at this point. You know, that's what he's trying to think to himself. But he knows it's not true deep down. So, you know, he steps back to protect Hazuna. So does Naruto, and so does Sakura. So, you know, they're protecting him in like a triangle formation. As, you know, Zabuza keeps fighting against Kakashi. Yeah, Kakashi gets a bit arrogant. He gets trapped in the water prison, same stuff as Canon. Zabuza sends out his water clones. This time, you know, Naruto handles his water clones pretty easily, actually, which offsets Zabuza, because that means that he's a better swordsman than his water clones. And he is a genin, which, you know, he doesn't quite understand how this kid's keeping up. But, he decides to just send in more water clones. And then, you know, basically Naruto says, protect the bridge builder. You know, he rushes in there. And he starts handling these water clones like it's nobody's business. And then finally, he rushes towards Zabuza, about to cut his arm off. But Zabuza pulls his arm back to not let it get cut off, which disrupts the water prison jutsu. As now, Naruto and Kakashi are double teaming Zabuza, not giving him a chance to like swing his massive sword, because it's too massive to be able to get a good swing off. So, you know, since Zabuza is not really being given a chance to like fight back or push back against anyone, Haku decides to just, you know, throw the senbon into his neck. He passes out. Naruto and, Kakashi stop before then and look around as, this masked hunter, which I already said, Haku, basically tells them that, yeah, she's from the mist, she's been sent to catch, it's still a guy, yeah. But he's from the mist, and he's been sent out to catch, Zabuzamomochi for his crimes. Naruto can tell it's a lie, but he can also tell that Kakashi's a bit too tired to continue on. So he's like, alright, then you can get going, I guess. But, Sasuke's like, what about the bounty? Don't we get it for beating that guy? He says don't we get it for beating that guy, but he didn't really do anything. Kakashi's like, let the mist handle it. Don't give the leaf something to, reward them for this. Of course, Kakashi can also tell that this isn't a hunter nin just because this person's trying to take the body back. But, he can also tell that, he is he's in no condition to fight this person. So he just lets them go, and, after that, Naruto, looks over at Kakashi, and Kakashi collapses, but Naruto catches him. And, Naruto, he looks over to them, he's like, alright guys, where does Tazuna live? And, Tazuna tells them they head to his house, and, they sleep the night. After a bit of talking, they basically talk to Tazuna's family. They have that same moment with Tazuna's son. And, then Kakashi finally wakes up after that day. He then, brings his team out to go train, and he tells them, alright, well, I'm gonna teach you guys how to wall walk, except for you, Naruto, because you already know how to do that. And he's like, can you water walk yet? And Naruto's like, yeah, I can water walk, which basically pisses off Sasuke even more, because now he knows that you also have to be able to walk on water, which he also cannot do. And then he's like, alright, Naruto, well, just train whatever way you see fit. I'm gonna help them. And if you still want, I can try to help you out with whatever. And, basically, Naruto, he's like, alright, yeah, that's fine. Oh, God, I'm still sore from that workout yesterday. But basically, Naruto, he's like, fine, I got it. And then after that, he heads out to go practice his breathing, right? Because he's noticed that, the longer he breathes, the more tired he'll get afterwards. So he wants to find a way to, just get rid of that. So he starts trying to train himself more using, bigger pots that the villagers have to try to, it's not like he'll just steal their fucking pots, but he'll, buy it off of them. And then he's like, yeah, can I get that big-ass pot right there? And he gives them, some money that he has on him from a few of the D-rank missions, since he gets paid by Hiruzen to eat, and he doesn't really need to eat too much because he hunts for himself. But after a while, he gets the big ass pots, and he slowly makes his way progressing from pot to pot, breaking them with his breath and stuff, and he gets to this big ass pot. This one's made thickly, it's a big one, it's gonna be hard as hell to break. Naruto can tell that this is going to be a difficult one. So, he starts getting ready, and before he can, he sees this gorgeous-looking woman, and he's like, what the hell? Who's that? So, he approaches, he's like, hello? What are you doing out here? She says, hello there. I'm just picking up herbs to heal a family member of mine. Naruto's like, oh, okay, it's nice to meet you. My name's Naruto Uzumaki. And then he's like, basically he asks, what's your name? He's like, I'm Haku. You can already tell where this is going. So, they talk for a while. Haku asks if you have anyone you hold dearly. Naruto tells Haku who he holds dearly and who is deep in his heart. And Haku tells him, if you keep fighting for people that you love and people who are in your heart, then you will get stronger, right? And, Naruto takes that advice from Haku, and then he's like, well, I'm gonna go get back to training. And Haku gets up and says, I got all my herbs. He looks over at Haku, he's like, goodbye, And Haku's like, oh, by the way, one more thing. Naruto looks over, yeah? And then Haku says, I'm a boy. Naruto, his red and yellow eyes widen. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to feel. He's questioning if he's a straight male. He's like, what? But that doesn't make any sense. He's hot. And not just that, he's really hot. Naruto, he has to take a moment to lean on a tree and just think about life and think about what got him to where he is now. Haku laughs and then starts walking off. Naruto's like, got there. Okay, I'm good. Alright, he goes over to the pots. Well, the one pot left now. He's like, I need to focus on something else. So, he starts practicing trying to blow it up with his breath alone. He's staying there for a while. It's basically taking him how long it would take him in canon for him to walk up the tree. It's like, now he's like, alright, I got this, And finally, through hard work and dedication, he breaks the gourd, or the vase, or whatever you want to call it, and it blows up from his breath alone. He throws his arms up, he's like, hell yeah, I did it! And now he's like, alright, now I should try to focus on doing my breathing 24/7 since I've reasonably trained my lungs, So he starts practicing, just doing his breathing, as he does everyday life, sort of thing. Now he's, practicing to do his breathing all the time, 24/7. And he's also noticed that, through his breathing, his, sort of his demonish half is also sort of getting stronger, where it's, at this point, fusing in a way with his breathing to where his demon half and his breathing will become, one instead of two separate things. But that's neither here or there for now. So, eventually, Naruto, he starts heading over to the house, and he still focuses breathing. Sasuke, he's like, Naruto, I finally walked up to the tree. See that? I guess you're not better than you thought you were. Naruto's like, that's cool, I guess, man. He goes to his room to go to sleep. Sasuke's pissed. So basically, that entire night, Naruto tries to focus on keeping his breath going, even when he's asleep. So he has to sleep in a little bit. Kakashi's like, his training was probably hard, so we should let him sleep. So they go head out. As they head out, after a while, Gato's men come by. They try to kill, his family. Naruto, he wakes up hearing their screams. He's still doing his actually breathing. So then he runs out, kills Gato's men, tells them to, tells his family, or tells Taz and his family to go inside and lock their doors and just hide. Basically, while that happens, Naruto rushes over to the bridge thinking that they probably had a plan or something to, do something. So as he goes over there, he notices that Sasuke's fighting Haku, getting his ass kicked, but mind you, and Zabuza is fighting Kakashi, and Kakashi's fighting him to a pretty much stalemate. So, Naruto's first priority at this point is to help out Sasuke, right? So, at this point, he rushes over to Haku, who's focused on Sasuke, and goes for a slash at Haku. Haku, seeing this coming last second, with his superior speed, easily is able to dodge Naruto's attacks. As now he notices that these two are teaming up together, and basically he's like, alright, fine then. He does his fucking hand signs. That was cringy as fuck, but he does his hand signs, you know what I mean? And after that, he makes the ice mirrors jutsu, you know. So they're trapped in mirrors of ice. If, you know, Naruto's like, I'll get, you know, my back, I'll get your back, you get mine. And then, you know, Sasuke's like, shut the hell up, nerd, right? So, as, you know, that's happening, they're blocking all the Senbon and stuff like that. As, you know, Haku notices that Naruto's blocking off more than Sasuke, so, you know, Haku decides to focus Sasuke so that she can then focus Naruto, or he can then focus Naruto. So then, you know, he throws an ass ton of, you know, Senbon at Naruto, and then, you know, after that, while Naruto's distracted with that, he throws 2 Senbon right past, you know, Sasuke's detection into Sasuke's neck in 2 points, right? And Sasuke falls over. You know, Naruto, after blocking all the Senbon, he notices that Sasuke fell over. And he's like, shit, you know, he runs over to Sasuke. He's like, Sasuke, wake up, Sasuke! You know, Haku basically tells Naruto that, you know, Sasuke's done for, and, you know, basically, it's all over for him now that he's alone, right? But, you know, after this, seeing Sasuke, who he didn't really see as a friend yet, but more of as a teammate, like, on the ground like that, this angers Naruto a lot, right? And he grips his blade tightly, right? Very tightly. As that happens, a sort of red-orangish cloak starts covering his body. But, not enough to where it's, like, too noticeable, but it's, like, barely over his skin. As, you know, this time, he, like, it isn't even like he thinks about what he's saying, but it's more like, in a way, he knows what he's saying. And, you know, he says, blood demon art. Crazy moon slashes. And, you know, he slashes his blade in, like, multiple different directions as a bunch of crescent moons, like a giant crescent moon, follows every slash he takes. And each of those giant crescent moons has, like, another, like, crescent sort of slash, as they all slash with the ice mirrors. And with no ice mirrors to go into, Haku easily gets hit and cut up by all these mirrors. And especially with the, you know, the other slashing, like, crescent blades or crescent slashes, they really cut up Haku to a point where he can't really get up because he's almost mangled, but he's still alive. And right as that happened, a sound of 1,000 chirping birds can be heard. As, you know, Naruto turns his head, he sees Zabuza, like, held down by a bunch of dogs, as, you know, Kakashi hits him with the Chidori. Haku was barely able to see this, but, you know, Haku did as he cried. His mask was cut by the slashes. You know, he cried and then asked Naruto to kill him because, you know, he's lost someone to fight for. And out of respect, he does so, you know, because that's just the way he is. He sees that, you know, this really hit Haku hard to the point where out of respect he has to just follow these requests. After that, you know, Gato walks in, he starts clapping, he's like, that was so unbelievably sad. I'm almost crying on, you know, all my money. Alright, man, kill him. You know, a bunch of men, an army of probably hundreds, show up and they're coming to fight and kill, you know, these guys, right? So Kakashi, he gets onto the bridge, of course bringing Zabuza's body there too to bury it properly. So he gets onto the bridge, you know, he's about to go handle business when Naruto holds out his hand. He's like, I'm got this, right? You know, Kakashi's a bit confused. He's like, that's a lot of people, Naruto, are you sure? Naruto nods as, you know, he holds his blade, like, towards the side, and he starts slashing, like, flat out at every direction towards those guys. And, like what happened to Haku before, a bunch of crescent moon slashes starts cutting through and, you know, grinding up each person. It's basically like each blade has its own tiny little slashes cutting, so one cut turns into multiple cuts in a way. So they're getting shredded up by all these fucking cuts. And they can't really do anything. It's like, Gato, he's fearful. He doesn't understand what happened. And like right before he can really say anything, Naruto just appears behind him as he slowly sheaths his blade. And then he finally sheaths it in as Zabuza's body just blows up in a fucking clusterfuck of blood and gore. Sasuke, he's absolutely disturbed by this. And, so is Sakura in a way, as, Naruto takes a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Then he looks over to them, he's like, he sees that Sasuke and Sakura are horrified. Kakashi just looks a bit sad, seeing that Naruto had to go through, doing that type of thing. But he did understand that Naruto wanted and needed to do something like this in order to grow as a ninja and a samurai in his own eyes. So, after that, the people of the wave start showing up and they see Gato dead. They're celebrating, they're happy and stuff. Of course, Naruto tells them all they're free. And he reaches, and surprisingly, he didn't actually cut the keys, but, he brings out the key and hands it to Tazuna. He's like, this is probably to Gato's base and all his fortunes. Use his money in order to rebuild your village. At least just send the leaf the amount that you owe, and then it'll all be well. And Tazuna, he's just bowing. He said he's thanking Naruto. Thank you so much, man. You're amazing. You saved the land of waves. So, after that, they wait a little while. Tazuna finally finishes building the bridge. They name it the Great Naruto Bridge, just like in canon. So, basically, after that, they're about to head out, when right before they do, Naruto is about to leave with everyone, and the entire village just gathers up and starts bidding them a farewell. As Tazuna's son, or not Tazuna's son, Tazuna's grandson is like crying and stuff like that, seeing Naruto have to go, just because Naruto did hold out to his word, and he did kill Gato like he promised he would. Well, not kill, but defeat Gato like he promised he would. And after that, yeah. So, this is going on a lot longer than I thought it would. Alright, this is gonna be like a 4-hour video? For real, bro? Alright, well, then after that, they get to the Hokage's office. Basically they're talking to Hiruzen, and they tell him how the mission went. And before they all leave, they're like, Hiruzen tells Naruto to stay inside, because there's something that involves him that he has to talk to him about, right? Basically, after, Naruto talks to Hiruzen, he figures out that Tazuna actually sent, Tazuna and the Land of the Waves actually sent him money for saving their village from Gato. And it was a pretty decent amount. Like, Naruto can get an actual house now and doesn't have to stay in that apartment. And Naruto, he's really happy hearing this, because now he actually can have a home, and a pretty decent-sized one at that. So, Hiruzen's like, should I give him his parents' home right now? He thinks about it. He's like, no, I can't, not right now at least. And if you're wondering why I've basically not let Naruto learn any other jutsu, it's just because, like, moon breathing is pretty damn versatile, and I don't really see him needing shadow clones like that, because, he has a QB chakra, right? So if he really wants to do a fucking Rasengan or something, whenever he gets stronger, he can just do a fucking Bijudama. But, like, right now, he doesn't really need a base level Rasengan, just because I think his attack is quite strong enough, Which, it will change a few things, having Naruto not be able to use Rasengan, of course, but, does it really make it worse? I would say no, but, whatever you guys think. So, yeah, after that, we're gonna skip to where, Kakashi tells them all about the tuning exams, and how they're gonna do the tuning exams and, you know, all that stuff, right? So he tells them all about the tuning exams, and, you know, they're all hyped up except for Sakura, who's a bit nervous. She thinks she might drag the team behind. So, of course, you know, Kakashi's like, I'll train you guys a little bit for this, or you guys can train alone, whichever one you want. Naruto, he's like, I'd rather train alone for now, just because I feel like that'll do me better. You know, give me one second. Alright. Yep, sorry. I was actually getting the moon breathing techniques on my phone so that I could know what kind of moves he does. Sadly, I did realize, I didn't know this before recording, form 10 through 14, well, the form 11 through 13 are actually never shown, so we don't actually know what kind of techniques he did. And also the move that I talked about before, where he sent a bunch of, you know, large slashes at them, was actually this moon, not called crazy moon cutting or whatever. It's called third form loathsome moon chains, which is, yeah, it's just like two gigantic crescent moon slashes from which a storm of smaller crescents spread, causing huge destruction in a small area. That's neat, alright? But, yeah, now, with Naruto being able to combine this new ability that he's found of creating, like, these crescent moon shapes, like slashes in the air, he wants to train it to where he can combine it with his current ability and make it like his own little special thing to create different forms of it. Okay? So now, since Naruto knows about these sort of crescent little shapes and stuff like that, of how he can make moon breathing, yeah, so he starts just training them on his own free time. So he basically he has like a day, so he doesn't get too far with it, but he does make a few, like, he makes, we'll say he makes his first three forms, which are still pretty damn fucking powerful. Don't get me wrong, right? So after that, you know, Naruto, he heads to the whole, what's the word I'm looking for? He heads towards the tuning exams area. He meets with Sasuke and Sakura. They meet Rock Lee. Rock Lee asks Sasuke for a challenge. Naruto isn't really immature in this one, so he won't be like, I want a challenge too, me too, you know. But, so now just Sasuke gets his ass whooped. After that, you know, they head into the written portion of the exams. They do the test. Everything happens to Ken in there, except this time Naruto's pretty smart, so he's at least able to answer a few questions. Well, actually no, because he was never allowed into the libraries, so he doesn't really know any of the questions, but he still passes due to extreme willpower. And then finally, they make it to the Forest of Death area, which, you know, yeah, there we go. So they make it to the Forest of Death area, and after that, they basically go in there. Anko busts in. She's like, yeah, this is what you gotta do. But, you know, Naruto seems a bit focused on the forest just because it seems like a really nice place. Like, they call it the Forest of Death, but Naruto actually thinks it looks pretty, you know, nice. Just a beautiful forest, untouched by the village and stuff. You know, he's not really paying too much attention. Anko goes to, like, slash at, you know, throw a kunai at his cheek, but, you know, basically, he cuts it in half with his fucking sword. He pulls that bitch out quickly and cuts the kunai in half. You know, then he looks over at Anko, who, like, you know, is a bit surprised by this, but, you know, she does know who Naruto is, so she isn't too surprised. She's like, alright, then. Well, anyway, you know, she starts explaining and stuff like that. And finally, after that, we're gonna skip to when they go in there. So, basically, Naruto and Sasuke and Sakura, they're walking through the forest looking for scrolls, and, Naruto's like, well, I actually have to use the bathroom, so I'm gonna be going. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I didn't go to the bathroom. I forgot. That's my bad. Then he goes and starts walking off. They notice that Naruto has been changing over time. He's not as loudmouth. He's definitely not as, annoying, they'd say. Just because Naruto used to be still pretty loudmouth. But over the period of time of them, going to missions together, he slowly started to get less sort of yappy. If that's a word you could say. So Naruto heads off to, go take a leak. He goes and does his business. He still gets attacked by a giant snake, but he easily handles that one. And, after that, we're gonna say that Orochimaru was still behind, even though, the snake showed up. So as, Naruto is making it back, he notices that a few, basically, a few other ninjas start, they catch this one chick and they start, beating her up, right? And Naruto does notice this, and he's like, what the hell? Why are they just beating her up? Just take her scroll. Now that they've beaten her up, they just, they got some plans, and some pretty fucking messed up plans, but we're not gonna get into that. So, before they can really do anything, Naruto hops down and easily, knocks them both out, because he doesn't really feel like killing is necessary fully, and he doesn't want to kill unless he feels like he's forced to, right? Those Gato's men were gonna try to kill him. That's what he needed to. Mizuki was gonna escape the very valuable information for the village, so it was still important. So now, Naruto looks over to this girl, and she has this red hair and these red eyes, and she's wearing these glasses. Naruto looks at her, he's like, what kind of scroll do you have? And she shows him what kind of scroll she has. He's like, same scroll as me, I won't need to take yours. So then he looks over to the guys and sees that they have the opposite scroll that he would need. Then he looks over to this girl who's all alone right now, and he's like, where's your team? And then she's like, I don't know, Basically, after that, he just hands her the scroll that he got from them. He's like, go get to the tower, And then he starts walking off, and she's like, who are you? As he's walking off, he turns around and waves, I'm Naruto. And then he hops off. She's like, I'm Karin. And then, we're gonna skip to when he makes it to them. And yes, you heard that right, that is Karin Uzumaki. Yes, I know. But yeah, that's who the ship is probably gonna be for this. I was thinking about Tamari for a little bit, but then I was like, Tamari feels like everybody does that, so I'm just gonna go with Karin. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's my phone, sorry. So after that, he makes it there, and he notices that Orochimaru has now attacked his friends, and they're fighting. And, right as the snake is coming straight at Sasuke, or, we're gonna say, Orochimaru is going to bite Sasuke's neck, Naruto rushes in there and immediately cuts off Orochimaru's, neck. But before that can really do too much, Orochimaru regurgitates himself out of his stomach. He looks over at Naruto and sees, those eyes, and he recognizes from his spy Mizuki, his spy before he got killed, Mizuki, that's the Nine-Tails, Jinchuriki. So right there, he's like, alright, this guy is a Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, I need to take it more seriously. He's like, if you use the Nine-Tails chakra, then I'll have to seal him away, right? And, before he could really think too much about it, Naruto immediately, rushes right in front of him. He's about to slash, and he says, first form, dark move, even horizon. Yeah, evening palace. What the fuck am I saying horizon for? I'm reading some other thing. I'm thinking of Event Horizon, a fucking anime. Goddamn. But he says first form. First form? What the fuck's wrong with me? First form, Dark Moon, Evening Palace. Yeah, Evening Palace. So he immediately sends a horizontal slash straight at Orochimaru. Orochimaru like tries to back up a little bit for it just so he can barely dodge, and then like punch Naruto. But as he does that, a blade comes out of the air from his blade. Sort of slash comes out of the air from his blade, and it's covered in smaller crescent moons as it hits, Orochimaru right in the gut. Basically opening up a wound as, Orochimaru has to jump back and hold his wound. He's like, what the hell was that? And right as he jumps back, Naruto says, third form, loathsome moon chains, and he sends out 2 gigantic slashes at freaking Orochimaru. As, Orochimaru has to jump back, but he still gets hit by this, as even his arms get cut off by this. As he realizes Naruto is not something to be played with right now. And he doesn't even sense any freaking Nine-Tails chakra, which is definitely throwing him off even more. Oh, there's no 4th form. What the fuck? No 4th form? Shit, that's sad. But, yeah. But, he realizes that Naruto isn't someone to be messed with right now. So he immediately, the first thing he does, he decides, alright, he makes like a small, like sort of snail come out from his ankle into the ground as it basically climbs, as it slithers away and climbs into Sasuke's like outfit while he's not looking. And Naruto's a bit too focused on Orochimaru to be able to sense his surroundings, so he doesn't notice either. And right as, Naruto's about to rush at him for another attack, Orochimaru does its snake substitution where he falls apart into a bunch of snakes, and he just gets the hell out of there because he doesn't feel like fighting this kid right now, especially since he's already regurgitated himself once, which is gonna take a bit of chakra out of him. So, he leaves there, Anko shows up, she's like, where'd he go? Naruto points in that direction, she follows, same moment with them happens. They go over and they do find the one team, beating up on, They do find the one team beating up on, Rock Lee and them. And, Rock Lee tried to help, but he got attacked by the sound thing, and he couldn't really do anything about it. But then after that, basically, Naruto showed up and he started helping them. He cut off the freaking, I wouldn't say he cut off, but more like he stabbed his sword into, the sound area of, this guy's hand or whatever, which still made him bleed significantly, but it wasn't nearly as bad what Sasuke did, to where he fucking disabled the guy when he was already over with and done. So, of course the other two try to help, Naruto beats them pretty easily. Then Sasuke wakes up with this curse mark act. Well, no, actually, no, because the snake didn't bite him yet. That was my bad. Snake's still on Sasuke. Sasuke's just mad that Naruto was able to handle them so easily and efficiently. He's so angry right now. His anger is festering. Basically, Orochimaru made it to where the snake would bite him the moment his anger was festering. And basically, while, Sasuke didn't even realize it, but the snake climbed to where his shoulder area was as he bit the same area that Orochimaru would bite in canon. And, basically, Sasuke winces in pain as he falls onto a knee and holds, his shoulder area. And Naruto, he's like, what the hell just happened? And basically, Sasuke gets the snake off him, but he basically turns to dust the moment it, basically bites Sasuke. So he got it off him, but then it turned to dust as, basically this mark appears on Sasuke, burns onto him. As, Sasuke passes out from the pain. So, Naruto sheathes his blade, gets Sasuke on his back, and tells Sakura to, come on, we need to hurry up to the place, because they did get their scroll from Orochimaru, since he dropped it while he was getting the fuck out of there. So yeah, fuck, this is a long ass video. I should have expected this from a movie. I might make this like a half a movie, where like I do the first half of Naruto and I do the second half later. That would be good. Alright, I think I'm gonna do that. So, fuck. Yeah, Naruto's a hard ass movie to do. But after that, Naruto, you know, he then like looks over to the others and he's like, "Can you guys handle yourself?" You know, they just nod their heads, like not trying to acknowledge Naruto too much, but they do realize he saved their lives, so they have to be somewhat grateful. After that, you know, Naruto gets out of there with Sasuke and Sakura. Sakura, of course, is like, "I should be the one holding Sasuke-kun." You know, Naruto's like, "You already go slow enough. You'll only slow us down more if you're holding him." You know, Sakura's angered by this, but she knows it's true. As they make it into, you know, the area, Sand Siblings already made it in there. And, you know, he notices that Karin actually also made it in there. You know, so Kakashi is there, and he basically tells them, "Good job." Well, they summon the guy, and it's Iruka, actually, not Kakashi. You know, Iruka's like, "Good job, guys. You did very well." And, yeah, you guys have passed the first part of the exams, right? You know, he's like, "Can you get Sasuke to some medical attention?" And, you know, they're like, "Of course." And, you know, they take Sasuke, and of course, you know, after Kakashi shows up, he does tell Kakashi that, he tells Kakashi what happened and how this weird snake guy showed up, or snake person showed up, and he made like a snake come on and bite Sasuke, and, you know, he doesn't know what happened. So, you know, immediately with that being known, and especially since Sasuke got sent to the infirmary, the Hokage was informed of this. And, you know, he now knows of Orochimaru's presence in a way, because Sasuke wasn't really awake to tell Naruto to not tell, or awake to tell Kakashi to not tell anyone, right? So since he wasn't awake to not tell that, you know, had to bite my nail a little bit. Since he wasn't awake to not tell Kakashi to tell anyone, obviously Kakashi would tell the Hokage. Hokage knows what happened. He knows that he can't really postpone the entrance exam, or not the entry. What the fuck? The fucking Chunin exams. But he does know that now that Orochimaru is there, so he's definitely going to be on guard. He's going to have a lot more guards there. You know, give himself better chances whenever the attack happens, right? So after, you know, that all happens, I'm gonna say after, you know, he talks to Kakashi and Sakura goes on her own way, he walks over to Karin, you know, he starts talking to her. He's like, "You made it back," you know, yada yada yada. They have a conversation. Naruto's like, so what's your name?" She's like, "My name's Karin Uzumaki." You know, Naruto's like, "What?" Like, "What do you mean Uzumaki?" You know, and then she's like, "I'm an Uzumaki. I'm from the Uzumaki clan." And then Naruto's like, "Huh? We have a clan?" You know, and she's like, "We?" And then Naruto's like, "Oh, well, my name's Naruto Uzumaki." You know, he scratches his head. And I'm gonna say, because one thing that I hear, actually, I looked this up, right? Uzumakis, usually the females have red hair, and the males can have red or brown hair, right? So I'm just gonna say that through a weird mutation, aka Kokushibo, Naruto had like brownish black hair, but you know, Minato knew Kushina, you know, that she's loyal. She ain't like that. Kushina ain't like that, alright? We ain't gonna make a what if Naruto's an Uchiha like that yet? Wait. Maybe. Alright, we'll think about that. But for now, no. For now, we're not gonna do that. Oh, God. Just... Well, anywho, after that happens, Uh, I want to say Kushina. Why did I say Kushina? But basically, Karin, is surprised to hear that there's another Uzumaki, basically in this village. And she immediately is like, I might want to move to this village, or I might, want to stay around since there's another Uzumaki here. And basically, he's like, if you talk to Hiruzen, you can get that kind of thing sorted out. But aren't you already in the village? She's like, they really only ever use me to heal them. Naruto's confused, and she's like, well, one of the Kekkei Genkai of our village is that people can bite us and, like, heal. Or, I don't know if that's her Kekkei Genkai, or if it's just, like, a thing she can do through jutsu. So I'll just say that's something she knows, a secret Uzumaki art. And, Naruto's a bit confused by this. As, she explains that, basically, they have a few Kekkei Genkai and a few, like, secret Uzumaki arts. And, Naruto's like, that's pretty cool. I mean, Hiruzen obviously wouldn't force you to do that type of thing. Especially since he's an old person. Or, not an old person, a good person. That's what I meant to say, not an old person. But yeah, he basically tells her that. She's like, thank you, and, I'll talk to him about it. I'll try to see if I can just hide out here in this village for a while. And, since she plans on staying here, she won't get caught by Orochimaru later. Yay! But, after that, they go their separate ways for a while. Actually, no, they wouldn't go their separate ways, per se. They get told that there's they have a second test coming up, and, due to Sasuke's current incapacity, he won't really be able to participate. So they're either gonna save it around for him later, or he's just not gonna be able to get in the Chunin exams. Which, Naruto is like, oh, I don't know if Sasuke will like that. Especially since, at this point, Hiruzen decides that, sadly, of course, even though I don't like, giving opportunities out that are, even though I don't like showing favoritism, the council would be on a riot if Sasuke wasn't able to be in the Chunin exam, so he's gonna have to automatically pass. But since Sasuke isn't in the Chunin exams, he's gonna have to fight twice. Or he isn't in the thing. Well, not fight twice, but, since there was, one extra person, wasn't there an extra person who could just skip? I forgot who the hell Sasuke fought. Who did Sasuke fight? I don't remember, but I'm just gonna say that Naruto has to take 2 rounds now, and Naruto's like, alright, I'll take this one for Sasuke. And Sakura's like, you better not lose, Naruto, this is for Sasuke, yada yada yada. So, he goes through that fight, he handles it pretty fucking easily. Then now it's Naruto versus Kiba, we'll say, right? And Naruto, unlike Canon, this time he doesn't beat Kiba through a fart. This time he just purely beats Kiba through actual work. Kiba can't really do anything about it. And, after that, Sakura versus Ino, that goes the same, they're both useless. And then, not Sakura, Ino, so yeah, all the fights basically go the same, and then when Hinata's in trouble, when Hinata's in trouble, Naruto does choose to help her out. Like, when Neji's about to go through that final blow shit, basically, while all the Jonin showed up, Naruto was one of the people to show up, and, basically put his blade to Neji's, and Neji's like, that's going too far, man. And Neji's like, what the hell do you know? You're just a demon. You wouldn't know what it's like to have a seal that decides what you do and don't do. But he doesn't actually say all that, but he's gonna say that later. So, you know. Since Naruto passed, they reason that Naruto must be at least around or decent to Sasuke's level since they're teammates, which it couldn't be farther from the truth. But, you know, they can't really say anything. After that, they have their little thing. Gaara does what he does. Rock Lee does what he does. Yeah, and they have their little pause time break area thing. So instead of going with Sakura to see Sasuke, Naruto decides to hang out with Karin because he's more concerned with, because this is actually family now, or whatever. He's like, are you a family member? Like, how close are we? She's like, well, seeing as how I don't know you at all, you're probably like a far relative. Like, and judging from how you don't even look like a normal Uzumaki in the sense, I guess. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, your hair is kind of blackish, which is usually a sign of impurity in the Uzumaki gene. Which, you know, Naruto's like, I mean, probably half Uzumaki then. I don't know. They just named me Uzumaki. And she's like, yeah, well, since you're an Uzumaki, that means that you're probably not nearly related to me, like, you know. And Naruto's like, alright, I mean, I could ask the old man Hiruzen about my family. He's like, actually, he never tells me anything about my family, you know. Now Naruto's starting to think, you know, he's starting to think, who is my family? Like, you know, with the appearance of Karin, of course. And before you say any relation that Karin and Naruto may have is like very, very, very far distance. Alright, I'm not about to make the sweet home Alabama. No, this is like the first two fucking Uzumakis, and then like after that they split out. It just splits out completely. So they're completely different sides of the fucking tree. Alright. Like, if Naruto's on the tree, he's a fucking leaf that fell off like 20 years ago. That grew a different fucking tree. But, oh, what the fuck am I talking about? But, yeah. That's the basic way I'm gonna put it. Just so people aren't like, Winfest! No! God, please, no. But, give me a minute, bro. I've been recording a fucking what if for 2 hours and 22 minutes. I need a break, alright? So, I'll be back. Yo, I'm back. Alright. Goddamn. 2 hours and 22 minutes. Alright. I'm probably gonna... Yeah, I'm just gonna do the first half of Naruto, and then I'm gonna end it there, and then I'm gonna do, like, half of a movie thing. Just to give you guys that, at least. And then I'm probably... I'll do the next part tomorrow, if, and only if, we get, like, 500 likes or something. I don't know, a decent amount, man. Just something decent, and I'll do it literally tomorrow. So, yeah. Peace out. Or, not peace out, what the fuck? It sounds like I'm gonna end the video. No, that's why you usually leave that for the end, Aizawa. You don't just say it in the middle of the video. But, yeah. Where was I? Yeah, he stays with Karin, or whatever the hell you want to say. So I'm gonna say Karin, because that's just how I'm used to saying it. So he stays with her. You know, he hangs out with her walking around the village. You know, people see them talking, but they think that she doesn't know the village, and she doesn't know that he's a demon, so let her do what she has to do for that, I guess. I don't know. They're like, let her do that. She doesn't even know he's a demon, probably. You know, she can tell that the villagers are glaring, but she can also tell that they're not really glaring at her. You know, he's like, oh, I know this great spot that you'll love, you know. And then he walks in there with Karin, and, you know, of course, it's Ichiraku ramen, and, you know, basically he raises his hand up. He's like, I'm gonna need like 2 bowls of ramen, you know. And then, you know, the guy's like, coming right up, Naruto. You know, he's like, oh, who is this? He's like, this is Karin, and she might be moving into the village. You know, Ichiraku's like, ooh, a new customer. I'm glad you're bringing in more people here in Naruto, and I'm glad to see you're making friends. So they're talking and laughing, and, Naruto's joking around with her, all that stuff. Of course, we're gonna say, do I want to say anyone walks in? I'm gonna say Kakashi. Fuck it. Kakashi walks in. He sits there next to Naruto. He's like, may I get a bowl as well? Naruto's like, oh, hello there, Kakashi-sensei. He's like, hello there to you too, Naruto. And he's like, who's this? And then, she's like, hello there, I'm Karin Uzumaki. Basically, while Kakashi is drinking, or not drinking, while he's, like, sitting there waiting for his food, he's like, Uzumaki. And then, he thinks back to Kushina, and he's like, I mean, she does have the red hair like Kushina, though Kushina's was a bit darker, but she does have the red hair like Kushina. I hope she doesn't have the attitude of Kushina. He thinks back to when when not really him and Obito and Rin, more like him and Obito just ended up breaking something in Minato's house, and they faced Kushina's wrath. And then he's like, he shakes slightly. He's like, yeah, so you must know Kushina then. It kind of slips out more than anything, because, like, he kind of forgets from time to time that he's not supposed to talk about that. And, basically she's like, oh, Kushina? And then, because every Uzumaki knows Kushina. She's the second holder of the Nine Tails. The second holder of the Nine Tails. Of course they know Kushina. Naruto's like, Kushina? Who's that? And basically, Kakashi's like, oh, shit! He realizes he fucked up right there. And he's like, and, basically Karin is like, oh, Kushina, she's one of the most well-known Uzumaki there is. They used to call her the red-haired habanero. Basically, Naruto's like, huh, she was an Uzumaki? And basically, what's it called? Kushina, fuck. Basically, after that, Karin's like, yeah, not only that, but she was the second holder of the, right before she could say it, Kakashi grabs Karin covering her mouth. He's like, let me talk to your friend here, Naruto, for a bit. Naruto's confused. He's like, huh? What are you doing? Karin's like, help! Rape! Rape! She's trying to scream that out, but, of course, Kakashi isn't like that, alright? I know he watches hentai, or he reads hentai in the middle of the village as he walks around, but he is not like that. He's a good man, I swear. Mostly. Kind of? I mean, he's definitely, I guess, he knows the best way to get to women's heart, but other than that, let me focus on the actual details. So now, basically, he pulls Karin aside. Karin's like, what the hell were you doing there? Who are you? What are your plans? I'll call out for Naruto. And, he'll handle you real quick. And, he's like, yeah, alright, listen, I can handle Naruto easy. I'm his freaking teacher. Of course I can handle him easy. And then, right after that, she's like, then what the hell do you want from me? Yada, yada, yada. Basically, he explains to her the situation to where Naruto really isn't allowed to know who his parents are right now. And, she's like, what? And, well, not really that she isn't allowed to know, but, more like Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and, he can't know that Kushina was the former Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, because then Kushina, he might hate Kushina, or something else. Naruto, they don't know how Naruto would react, so they don't want to tell him yet. Basically, she's like, that's dumb. Eventually, he's gonna find out, and when he does, he's gonna be mad at you guys. And, basically, Kakashi realizes that, yeah, she's pretty damn right. Like, if Naruto figures out about, them basically lying, he's gonna be pretty upset. So he's like, alright, we're gonna go to the Hokage and talk about that to him, and see what he says, and see how he reacts. Basically, she's okay with that, but she's like, what about Naruto? And, he's like, I'll tell him that we're gonna get you, like, a citizenship, and, they'll be fine with it. After, Kakashi explains that he's gonna go talk to Hiruzen about getting her to become a member of the village. Naruto's perfectly fine with that. He trusts Kakashi, so he's like, yeah, sure, okay, yada, yada, yada. And then he's like, alright, well, I'll be heading off to my house, or I'll be heading off to train for the Chunin exams. Kakashi's like, alright, I'll wait for Sasuke to wake up after I get Karin there. So they head over there, they go to Hiruzen's office. Basically, he explains to Hiruzen the situation. Hiruzen, of course, knowing that what happened to the Uzumaki clan, is very willing to help Karin, but he did also tell Hiruzen what almost happened and what Karin almost did. Hiruzen then talks to Karin about how they can't tell Naruto yet, but then she also retorts that Naruto deserves to know that who the former Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki was, and how he reacts to it is how he reacts to it. The longer you hold it back, the more angry he will be. They start to get that and understand that, and they're like, yeah, that's pretty fair. We should tell, we should tell, who his parents are to everyone. Well, at least Naruto, and then let him decide from there. Because, he's grown. Damn, I'm bleeding. Fuck. Because, he's grown now. He's a ninja. And he's a pretty capable one at that. So, we'll let him decide from there. So, after that, they go out. They talk to Naruto. Fuck, that really hurts. I accidentally stabbed myself in the fucking finger. Shit. But, after that, Kakashi, the Hokage calls Naruto into the office, and, Naruto appears there in a body flicker, because he did learn that. And, he's like, is there anything I help you with, Lord Hokage? And he's like, Naruto, please sit down. I need to have a very serious discussion with you. And, what's it called? Naruto's like, alright, of course. And basically, he's like, well, during this Chunin exam, it's come to my attention that you've learned of another Uzumaki who has the same last name as you. He's like, yeah, I actually was planning on talking to you about that. He's like, yes. And you've also learned about our own Uzumaki who used to live here, Kushina the Red Habanero, who died during the Nine-Tails attack. And then he's like, I was unaware that she died during the Nine-Tails attack. That's awfully sad. I was hoping I could meet her one day. Hiruzen's a bit saddened to hear that, especially, since he doesn't know this is his own mother. But basically, he tells Naruto, I need you to sit down. And, Naruto sits down, and he's like, alright. He explains what happened to the Uzumaki and how they've been wiped out for the most part. And how him and Karin are very rare to find. And how, basically, and how Naruto has to think about the fact that, the only other Uzumaki to name that has lived here before him was Kushina Uzumaki, right? And then Naruto thinks about it, and, slowly the gears in his head are starting to turn. As he looks over to Hiruzen, he's like, was that my mother? My mother? Basically, Hiruzen, he nods his head. He tells Naruto, yes, that Kushina Uzumaki was your mother, what the fuck? Your mother, Naruto. Naruto, he has to take a moment to, comprehend this. And then he also looks at her and looks at, basically, Hiruzen. He's like, can I see a photo of what she looked like before, this, Hiruzen does, of course, have a picture of, basically Kushina while she was still pregnant with Naruto, smiling. As, it wasn't with Minato in the photo, that's a different photo, but he basically at least showed Naruto this, and he's like, Naruto, you became the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki because the Nine-Tails was sealed within Kushina, and on the day of your birth, the seal was at its weakest, and, the Nine-Tails was released from her, and you, being a Uzumaki child, were the best fit to put the Nine-Tails into. I'm sorry, Naruto already did know about the, Kushina and stuff like that, and he's like, so that's why the Lord Fourth sealed the Nine Tails within me. He's like, so in a way, I'm the only thing that stopped the village from getting destroyed that day. He's like, yes, because he could not beat the Nine Tails. He didn't kill it. It was obviously potent. You know that. But nobody can kill a tailed beast, and they can hold grudges, and they can, kill us quite easily even. So then, Naruto's like, alright, I understand the Fourth's thinking now, So he's like, are you angry with us for hiding it? He's like, I still don't fully understand why you hid it from me, but I'm not angry at you by any means. You're my family. You're my gramps, Hiruzen, his heart is just fucking... He wants to cry, man, because this is his grandson. And now, instead of holding a grudge or be angry or yelling, which a lot of people in Naruto's situation at this point would do, Naruto forgave him. Naruto saw that, in a way, that this wasn't Hiruzen's fault by any means. This was nobody's fault, really, other than the person who unsealed, the Nine Tails from Kushina. Naruto's like, I'm still curious, though, who's my father? Basically, Hiruzen's like, you know what, Naruto? If you can pass the Chunin exams, I'll tell you who your father is. Or at least I'll tell Kakashi to tell you. Basically, Naruto's like, why does it have to be after the Chunin exams? Because, basically, he's like, the reason why is because this one, if your mother being, the Uzumaki who previously held the Nine Tails was a shock, then this will be far more of a shock for you. And I think that once you become a Chunin, you're ready to hear it, right? So, of course, knowing that information, Naruto is happy, and he's like, alright, I'll train hard, just, to figure this all out. So, of course, after that, he goes off, he sees Karin again, he's like, do you have anywhere to stay? While you're here, she's like, yeah, hotel, there's a hotel, but, I'd rather not stay with my team right now. They kind of just yelled at me for getting separated from them during the exam. So basically, after that, Naruto is like, you can stay in my apartment then. Karin's like, really? He's like, yeah. And of course, Naruto doesn't have any fucking ulterior motives. Listen, Naruto's a warm, kind-hearted spirit. Alright? He's a very kind person in this one. I know, he's Kokushibo's reincarnation, but at this point, from how Naruto was sort of raised and how he is with Hiruzen and them, he's still, he's a good person, I'd say. Alright, well, now that, of course Karin accepts his, kind offer, and she stays with Naruto. She does notice that Naruto's a bit of a slob, but she helps him clean up his house, and, she yells at him to never, to not be this dirty, as it kind of covers basically what Kushina and Minato looked like in a way, to where he would get yelled at for making a mess, and, he'd be scratching his head like, my bad, my bad, my bad, she'd be pissed off. So, it's a good little mirror image type of thing. So after, what do I want to say? I'm trying to think here. And, yeah, alright. I'm thinking. I did the thinking thing that I needed to do. So now we're going to time skip after the training. Now, this time, it's the matchups, just like canon, Sasuke versus, Gaara, Naruto versus Neji, all that stuff, Basically, so now, right now, it is Naruto versus Neji. That's the first match, right? And Naruto's not really here yet, and that kind of surprises a few people that Naruto's not here. Mostly Sakura, but she's more worried about how Sasuke's not here yet, more than she's worried about really Naruto not being here yet. And, of course, she's like, oh, where's my Sasuke-kun? Why isn't he here yet? And blah, 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 blah. So, eventually they're like, if Naruto Uzumaki does not show up in the next, they're gonna, no, that guy's, okay, yeah. So, basically, if Naruto Uzumaki doesn't show up within the next 5 minutes, then he'll be disqualified from the Chunin exams, right? So, eventually, about 4 minutes and 55 seconds pass as it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And right when he's about to say Naruto Uzumaki is disqualified, Naruto makes it. He's like, I'm really sorry, I had to get some ramen in before the fight, right? And Neji's a bit insulted by this because he thinks that Naruto was late just to get some damn food, which, I mean, yeah, he did get some ramen before he got here. But he also has mastered a few more forms of breathing during this sort of this like longer training period he's had. And he also unlocked a few things that we'll talk about in a bit, right? So, right as, Neji is like, walks up, he's like, I will show you what the prodigy of the Hyuga clan is capable of. Basically, Naruto's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And, he pulls out his sword and he gets into a fighting stance. Basically the proctor's like, let the match begin in 3, 2, 1. He brings his hand down as, Neji immediately rushes in, trying to just knock out a few chakra points by, like, memory more than, using the Byakugan because he doesn't have it activated yet. And, right as, he gets close, Naruto, Naruto, like, right as he gets close, Naruto yells out, second form, Pearl Flower Moon Gazing. This is an attack where he throws out several freaking crescent-shaped slashes, and they kind of defend him from attacks that are coming in. And he sends, like, a barrage of the crescent-shaped blades, like, in different directions, right? As this pushes Neji back decently, and since he's been pushed back, Naruto rushes over and goes to slash at him. And, of course, Neji, being the Hyuga prodigy and all, he does block, well, not block, but he does, like, dodge this. And he realizes that if Naruto's using a blade and he's using his hands, he'll easily get cut. So first he activates the Byakugan. Yeah, Byakugan. So he activates the Byakugan in order to even out the scales a little bit, and then he covers his hand in chakra. That way it won't get cut quite as easily as it would if it wasn't, right? So, right then, after that, Neji rushes in there, and then... So, Neji's rushing towards him, and he goes in for a few palm strikes as, Naruto is just dodging or blocking with the smooth side of his blade. As, after that, he sends a kick straight towards Neji. Neji didn't expect a kick just because it's a swordsman, so he got kicked back. And right there, Naruto rushed over, and Neji, goes to block with his chakra-covered hands. Naruto, he yells out, fifth form, Moon Spirit, Moon Spirit, Calamitous Eddie? What the fuck? Moon Spirit, Calamitous Eddie, alright? It's Eddie, I don't know. Alright, listen, if I'm saying anything wrong, it's a wiki. And then, he makes multiple curved slashes layered over one another, creating like a vortex of sword slashes and crescent moon blades, right? And as that happens, like, you know, Neji's in the forefront of it as he gets cut up and slashed and stuff, and you know, he's now just bleeding hardcore, like all over the ground. And what's it called? People are worried. They're like, not the prodigy of the Hyuga being beaten by the nine-tailed brat, you know. Okay, yeah. So after that, you know, basically Neji, in order to like get Naruto off him, who is rushing at him, he does the palm rotation, which, you know, basically it stops Naruto from rushing, but Naruto basically realizes that, alright, this is gonna be an annoying attack, right? So since he realizes that this attack is gonna be pretty annoying to deal with, he sees that Neji's sort of rotating along with his chakra, right? So he's like, if I send some crescent like sort of slashes in there with I can't, you know, he realizes like with his normal attacks he's not gonna really be able to break through the palm rotation, you know, the perfect defense of the Hyuga clan, you know what I mean? He can't break through that. So then he realizes, alright, there has to be something I can do, you know, and then he thinks about if he should really reveal it this early on, but he does realize that if he beats the Hyuga prodigy, then no one can really say too much to him, right? So, you know, Naruto holds his blade as it begins to grow, and in a weird, like, it's weird, like, because other blades start, like, popping out from the blade. Not, like, popping out, but more, like, growing out of it, like the blade's alive or something, you know. Basically, Hiruzen's confused because he was the one who got Naruto the sword, and he knows it didn't have any freaking features like this, right? And Naruto has, by using his own blood, he fused the blade with himself in a way, right? In a way to where he can use the blade with his blood demon arts. That way that his attacks are not only stronger, but, you know, better. Just because he realized during the Land of Wave Hearts that, you know, if the more his blade is synced with him, the better he'll be able to fight. But, you know, he holds up his sword, you know, he's like, let me see, alright, he says, sixth form, perpetual night, lonely moon, and then, whenever he does this, he releases a wild barrage of crescent-shaped slashes in several meters in front of him. This technique was powerful enough to overwhelm, I don't know what his name is, someone else, and, that's how strong it was in the anime when Kokushibo did it. And I'd say, would I say that he's stronger than Kokushibo? Like, technique-wise, I would say he's weaker, right? But I'd say physically, he'd be stronger just from Naruto, just because, like, there's still, like, demons are pretty fucking strong, though. So, I'd say that Naruto's, like, physically stronger, but as of, like, technique-wise, Kokushibo is still the master of moon breathing. And, what's it called? So he sends this powerful fucking slash at Neji while he's doing his, you know, while he's doing his thing with the palm rotation. And to surprise of all the Hyugas and surprise of Tenten and Rock Lee, who's here, is Rock Lee here in a wheelchair? Who is here in a wheelchair, we'll say, he breaks through the perfect defense of the Hyuga clan. And, you know, basically, Sashi gets up, he's like, that's impossible, he can't break through that. Like, you know, he was pissed that Neji could do the, you know, the technique of the head of the clan, but he's more pissed now knowing that Neji's, like, you know, the ultimate defense was defeated by the Nine-Tails demon, you know, that's what he's thinking. And, you know, basically Neji, he got knocked into a wall from this just because, we'll say that it didn't cut through it, I'd say, but at least it would cut through the attack or the rotation, but it didn't cut into Neji too deep. But he more got sent back to the shockwave of it, as he slams into the wall. Naruto holds his blade to Neji, and he basically tells him, "Your technique was strong, but in the end, you weren't strong enough." So, Neji, he grits his teeth as he can't really do anything. At this point, the proctor has to call it, and Naruto won his match. And as for Sasuke versus Gaara, I'll say that match goes around the same. I won't say that Sasuke's weaker, but I will say that without his training and stuff like that, without as much training, he's a little bit weaker, but I don't think it's enough to really change around too much what happened. As, the moment Gaara gets stabbed through his, sand shield sort of thing, then he does have that, the moment Gaara gets stabbed through his sand shield, he does have that moment, the Genjutsu still comes up. But remember what I said about them knowing that Orochimaru's here? Now they were more, willing to predict that an attack would happen, and they were way more, cautious. And they definitely were more cautious of the sand at this point, not knowing, fully what's going on. So the moment the feathers start falling all over the stage, immediately all Chunin, even fucking a few Genin, even ninja at this place, along with, of course, the Jonin, fucking dispel the Genjutsu, and the Anbu were ready for anything at this point. They didn't tell the sand because, of course, they didn't know where the stand stood. So, immediately, once the Sand Ninja once the Kazekage tries to attack, Hiruzen, he's immediately caught by, I completely forgot about Jiraiya. Oh, shit. Yeah. Since, Jiraiya was in the neighborhood and he heard about what was happening, say that he was a bit late as to meet Naruto, but he did hear about what happened with Orochimaru showing up, so he decided it would be best for him to stay in the village for a little bit. So the moment the Kazekage tried to attack, immediately, Jiraiya shows up, and he caught the punch, and he punched the Kazekage out of the thing. They were everybody was confused seeing the Kazekage fly out into the battlefield, as, basically Sand siblings notice him before they could jump out, and they look over and they see Orochimaru basically come out of the body of the Kazekage. Temari and Kankuro, they're confused, and so are a lot of the Sand Ninja, as they realize that they've been put into a ruse. They were tricked by, what's his fucking name, Orochimaru. So immediately, the Sand siblings, they still leave. Other Sand Ninja, they immediately are like, we should help out the Leaf to stop this attack. So they start going around and stopping the attack. And now, with the attack basically stopped, other than the sound, everybody else can focus on fighting against, the Sound Ninja. Even though the giant snake shows up, basically the Jonin, Might Guy and Kakashi can handle that pretty well. But now, it's freaking Jiraiya and the third Hokage versus freaking Orochimaru. So it's not looking good for Orochimaru at all. He thinks the best way he can do this is escape, and probably the best way he can escape is by getting the Sound 4 to basically distract while he gets the fuck out of there, right? So immediately that's what he tells him to do, but since they don't have, what's-his-face? They don't have, the Bone Guy. I don't know what his name is, but they don't have the Bone Guy there, so they're kind of fodder to Jiraiya. So Jiraiya just fodders them off, and immediately now it's Orochimaru alone with nothing he can really do, as the only thing he can really think of right now is just using his summoning to escape, or just, becoming that giant snake form and escaping as a smaller snake. So, basically that's what he does. He summons a giant snake, of course, because the other snakes are defeated, he summons a giant snake, and Jiraiya summons the King Toad, yada yada yada. They're fighting, and they don't notice that, basically Orochimaru used the clone to get the hell out of there. And since he got the hell out of there, he didn't really lose his arms in any sort of way. So he doesn't need to go to Tsunade. But they easily defeat. And yeah, the Konoha Crush plan kind of completely failed. So, of course, the fan begs for forgiveness because they're Kazekage. They were tricked for their Kazekage. But, that's basically what happened in that front. So yeah, Hiruzen survives. But on the other front, to where, the Sand siblings were, Sasuke was chasing after the Sand siblings with, basically Naruto and Shino in tow as well. Shino goes against Tamari, Kankuro, Shikamaru was also there, and he goes against Tamari again. Kankuro, he also goes up against, what's his name? Kankuro goes up against Shino, and Sasuke goes to fight, Gaara, who is in his half Shukaku state. And remember how I said that less training didn't affect him too much in the fight before? Well, now with Gaara in his half Shukaku state, Sasuke's handled quickly. Handled way quicker than in canon, and way easier by Gaara. As, he's about to deal the finishing blow, and then Naruto arrives and kicks Gaara away. As he immediately starts getting into a fight with Gaara. Sasuke's pissed because now he just got saved by Naruto again. Every time he tries to do anything, just Naruto beats him to the punch. He is pissed. Now, because since Naruto is now fighting, what's his fucking name? Gaara. Since Naruto is now fighting Gaara, he's taking this seriously. He's immediately going in. He says, 7th form, mirror of misfortune, moonlit, and he immediately swings the gigantic version of his sword, which he's still in right now, and sends out a powerful frontal crescent-shaped slash that creates a multi-directional long-range slash in the ground, right? So after, he does that, Gaara is narrowly able to dodge, but he does get cut up, and he's like, it's my blood! He's pissed as he slowly but surely turns into the large Shukaku, right? And this is an issue, right? Because, like I said before, Jiraiya showed up a bit later. So that means that Naruto doesn't have a summon, and that means that Naruto has to fight against Shukaku 1v1, right? So immediately, Naruto, he jumps back, he gets Sasuke out of there, and, he throws her to Sakura, who just showed up. He says, get the hell out of here. As he's jumping around, he's basically yelling in his head, listen, Ninetales, I really need your chakra right now, I really need your help. I can't beat the Shukaku, not in my current state. I'm not that strong. And of course, the Ninetales is like, why, he's like, why should I help you, brat? What can you give me to help you? And then, Naruto's like, do you really want to let the one-tail Shukaku beat the mighty Ninetales? Jinchuriki, the Jinchuriki of the mighty Ninetales. Basically, he thinks about it for a while, and then he realizes that Shukaku could not, what's the word that I'm looking for? Shukaku would be bragging about this. No matter what, he'd be bragging how he beat the Ninetales brat and how he's the strongest tailed beast and all that. That would get to Kuroma's nerves, or, the Ninetales nerves. So, he begrudgingly complies to Naruto's request and helps him out by giving him a decent amount of chakra, right? And because of this amount of chakra, Naruto's able to go much faster than he normally would. Able to way easily, way more easily connect attacks and let them do damage. Because now, if I never said, I should have said this probably earlier, but I kind of want to make his like blood demon art kind of connected to his chakra in a way. Like the more chakra and the stronger he is, the stronger the attack will be. So now he's fighting evenly with with Shukaku as he jumps up into the air over one of Shukaku's punches. Since he's a lot smaller, able to nimble through a lot of Shukaku's attacks, as he yells, "Eighth form, Moon Dragon Tail Ring," as he uses the gigantic sword and creates a singular gigantic crescent-shaped slash that slowly decreases in size, creating dozens of crescent-like shaped moons. As they all start cutting into Shukaku, as he tries to he tries to swat them all away, right? But while he's distracted with that, Naruto, he jumps onto the Shukaku's head and grabs Gaara. He's like, "Get a hold of yourself!" And he headbutts the fuck out of Gaara. And Gaara wakes up and he's like, "What's happening?" And, basically, they fall. It's all the same moment to where they both slam into the ground. And, oh, that's what's fucking doing it. Wait. Oh my god, what the fuck? My mic reacts to my fucking phone. That's crazy. I did not know that. Why does... It only reacts when it's a... That's weird. It's like it reacts to my fucking phone. No, I might be stupid. Maybe I'm stupid, but I just put my phone to my mic and it was doing the fucking buzzing shit. So... I don't know how to feel about that. Yeah. But, just, most of the stuff happens like in canon to where Naruto lands on the ground, with Gaara. Gaara's like, "How are you so strong?" Naruto tells him, with the power of friendship. Gaara has to think about that and think about his family. And, of course he thinks about the people around him who he cares about. So, all that stuff happens. And, now we're gonna skip to, where do we skip to? We would skip to a little bit afterward. Naruto, would come up to the Hokage's office being summoned as him, Sasuke, Shikamaru, and I'd say, who else? Maybe Shino? Would we say Shino? I'd say Shino. He said him, Sasuke, Shikamaru, and Shino all go over there, and they are promoted to Chunin rank. And, Naruto's happy. Sasuke, he's upset that Naruto defeated the one-tail Shukaku, but he isn't crazy, too upset now because he's become a Chunin, which means he's one step stronger to, being one step towards being better than Itachi. Shino is I am happy, he's the emo guy he is. And, basically, Shikamaru, he's whatever. What a drag. That's, Shikamaru's my fucking spirit animal. Jesus Christ. Alright. But yeah, basically after that, the Hokage is like, "Oh yeah, by the way, did I mention how Naruto defeated the one-tail Shukaku and kind of saved the village?" Oops. Kind of saved the village. He let it kind of slip out, on accident, letting the villagers know, meaning that in this canon, instead of Sasuke getting the credit for defeating the Shukaku, it was actually Naruto. And, a lot of the villagers were like, "We've treated Naruto so badly, and yet he saved us from the one-tails." They're starting to think about maybe they were speaking wrong about Naruto and how he's a bad person all because he has a nine-tails, but he saved them from, you know, a very tailed beast, which if he was the Nine Tails, then he probably would have helped the tailed beast destroy the village. You know, he did leave out the part where Naruto needed to use the Nine Tails chakra, but, you know, parts will be left out, stories untold. Who is really to say what's so bad? After that, you know, Naruto does get told by Hiruzen, Naruto does get told by Hiruzen to stay in the office for a bit, as, you know, Hiruzen does sit him down and tells Naruto, your father was the fourth Hokage, you know, because he did promise to tell Naruto after and once he became a Chunin. So, you know, Naruto, he's stunned by this information. He's like, Lord Fourth was my father? You know, he's like, really? You know, he's like, yeah, that's why he entrusted the Nine Tails into you, because you're his son and he believed in you, Naruto. You know, and Naruto, he feels really happy hearing this, knowing that no matter what, even after his dad was gone, he still, like, believed in him, to where not a lot of people would believe in Naruto, even now, but now with how everyone knows who Naruto is and what Naruto did for the village, a lot of people are going to start treating Naruto a bit differently. I mean, yeah, there's still going to be different people who are there like, oh, he's still a demon, even if he defeated one, that just means he's a stronger demon than other demons. While other people are like, I mean, he could have just let the Shukaku do what he did. Maybe we just have been judging him wrongly. So, you know, now the village is a bit divided on how they treat Naruto, with a few select people being like, I don't like Naruto, and a few other select people being like, Naruto saved us, you know. So a lot of people walk up to Naruto and, you know, they're bowing their heads, they're apologizing. It's not like, please forgive us, but, you know, they're more like, we're sorry for what we've done over the years, and you don't have to forgive us. We were awful before, please, you know, accept our apologies. You know, of course, Naruto, being the kind of person he is, he understands that they were afraid of him, and he wants to make a sort of amends with them. So, you know, instead of being vengeful or angry or anything like that, he chose to not waste his time on revenge, to say. Just because, like, the whole idea of revenge itself is kind of, in my eyes at least, the way I see it is, revenge is kind of useless in the long term, right? Because, like, in the end, after that, what do you have? You showed everyone else that you're no better than the person that you got revenge on. That's all it is to me. That's what I think. If you want to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. But, you know, that's just how I see it. After that, they hold a little bit of celebration, seeing as Naruto did save the village and they did live. And, you know, of course, after that, Jiraiya introduces himself to Naruto. He does tell Naruto that, you know, he's Naruto's godfather, and, you know, they're gonna go out and find, you know, Tsunade. And if you're wondering why, it's because Hiruzen wants to fucking retire. He is done. He is tired out, and he did tell Naruto to not tell anyone that he was the son of Minato, just so everyone knows. But he is tired, alright? He's been the Hokage for a long ass time. He passed it on the first time, and the hat didn't hold on for too long. So after that, you know, basically, Naruto, he knows that Hiruzen's gonna retire, so he's like, why aren't you just gonna become Hokage or something? Like, aren't you the Toad Sage or whatever? You know, Jiraiya does explain that, yeah, I am the Toad Sage, but I do need to, like, I am the Toad Sage, yes, but I don't want to be Hokage. I have this whole spy network, yada yada yada. Tsunade would be the best for the job, even though she's a drunk. But, you know, after that, Naruto and Jiraiya eventually go off. Naruto went with Jiraiya just in order to, like, you know, meet Tsunade, because he does know that Tsunade is, like, you know, he did hear from Karin, since, you know, basically they lived together, he did hear from Karin that, yeah, Tsunade is actually part Uzumaki as well. You know, related to Mito Uzumaki, that was her grandmother. And a lot of what ifs make like Tsunade like directly related to Naruto, which I mean I don't see at all. I don't understand how you do that. But you know, I'm just gonna say he'll see her as like a motherly figure in a way, or a grandmotherly figure. But you know. So after that, she goes there with, you know, Jiraiya. He does learn the summoning this time because he feels like if he ever gets in that situation and the Ninetales isn't feeling so kind, then it'll go bad for him. And, you know, he does do that. So he goes off with, you know, Jiraiya, and he does explain to Jiraiya that, yeah, he's a swordsman and he actually, you know, wants to be the greatest samurai and swordsman ever. You know, he wants to be the greatest samurai ninja ever. And you know, Jiraiya's like a samurai ninja. That is awesome, actually. You know, after that, Naruto does explain to Jiraiya that he has his own technique of fighting. He calls it like, you know, moon breathing techniques, to where he can focus his breathing in a certain way, and by using his breathing in this special sort of fighting style. And by the way, if you're wondering how people are reacting to his sort of, you know, special sort of fighting style to where there's crescent moons, his do appear because they are a part of a blood demon art. Blood demon arts actually do appear, but unlike before, people can see his moves now. So, you know, Hiruzen, of course, did ask about that a lot earlier on. You know, Naruto did explain that he sort of unlocked it in a weird way, but he did explain his breathing and how he did base his breathing off the moon. So it sort of makes sense. So he sort of called it its own technique, or maybe even a Kekkei Genkai, or a Kekkei Todo. I don't know. So now, let me think. So yeah, so they're heading out, you know. Jiraiya does offer to try to teach Naruto the Rasengan. Naruto's like, I mean, is it a close range kind of jutsu? And, you know, basically, Jiraiya's like, yeah, it is. And, you know, Naruto's like, well, I rely on a sword mostly, so if it was a long-range sort of jutsu, then maybe I could use it. And, you know, basically, Jiraiya understands, and, you know, even though he's a son of Minato, it doesn't mean he has to learn the fucking same jutsu. And if you're upset about him not learning Rasengan, alright, listen, he has fucking moon attacks. Fuck the Rasengan for now. But yeah, after that, so they get to this hotel. Jiraiya runs off. Well, he tells Naruto, I'm gonna go do some research. And, you know, he runs off. After that, just like in canon, you know, Itachi and Kisame get knocking on the door. You know, Naruto, it's like, for a second, he thought he could just see through the door for a second, because he saw them. And he's like, what the fuck? You know, he's like, this is so weird. Because, like, this kind of thing has been happening to him a lot lately, and he doesn't really understand it. But, you know, he decides to just ignore it for now, and he does notice these guys have some killing intent on them. And especially with Kisame, he's not really hiding it too well, right? So, of course, you know, they go knocking on the door, and, you know, Kisame is like, can I bust it down already? And, of course, you know, Itachi's like, fine, Kisame, right? And, so Kisame busts down the door, and then nobody's in there. You know, basically, they're confused. They're like, where the hell's the brat at, right? And, as, you know, he says that, Naruto busts through the roof of the freaking... He busts through the roof, right? Like, right above Kisame, and he slashes straight for his neck. immediately, Itachi comes up and blocks it with a kunai very quickly. Naruto's a bit surprised, and then he sees, Itachi's eyes as he realizes this could be bad, and he looks away before Itachi's really able to put him in the genjutsu, just because, you try to explain a bit about genjutsus and how you can't look at, like, for example, like Itachi, and you can't look him in the eyes. So, Naruto jumps back, he holds his blade as he looks over at Kisame, and he looks at Itachi's, like, chest and feet. Like, he doesn't try to look at his face at all, right? So, Kisame's like, can't you just put him in a genjutsu, Itachi? He's like, he's not looking into my eyes. Kisame's like, this one must be a smart one then. As that happens, Kisame's like, he seems to be a swordsman like me. I can't wait to kick his ass. So he rushes over and immediately swings down at, Naruto. Naruto sidesteps this sort of, like, wide-ass swing as, since his sword's always on him, he says first form, dark moon, evening palace, as he sends a horizontal slash towards, what's his fucking name? Damn, how did I forget? Kisame, yeah. So he sends that slash towards Kisame, and Kisame, like, he goes to back up from the slash as a bunch of crescent moon slashes come out and start, cutting into him. As, he has to, like, jump back and let go of his sword. And, Naruto looks over at the sword. He realizes the sword's fucking alive. Basically, before, Naruto realizes the sword's alive, and, Kisame thinks that Naruto doesn't know. He looks over to Kisame, who has a bit of a smirk on him, as Naruto, then says, third form, load some moon chains, and he immediately slashes, and, basically, Kisame thinks that this is going to be at him or at Itachi, but instead, he hits the sword with two gigantic crescent slashes as they start slashing and cutting up onto Kisame's sword. Kisame is like, what the hell? Itachi's like, he somehow is able to tell your sword's alive. Basically, Kisame, he's pissed, and then his sword goes back to him, and, basically, the shark hide is kind of revealed because the giant paper shit covering it was cut up, along with a little bit of its scales were cut up. As, Kisame is like, this kid's no fucking joke. He's like, Itachi's like, yeah, if this kid gets any stronger in the future, he'll be a real problem, As, before, Itachi's like, screw being easy on the kids, let's just rush him, and Kisame's like, shit, Itachi, okay, He goes to rush at, basically Naruto, along with Itachi, as he brings his sword around and he says, second form, pearl flower, moon gazing. And he immediately sends out those barrage of crescent-shaped slashes in every direction, right? And, basically, Itachi and, Hidan? What? Fuck, no, not Hidan or Kakuzu, god damn it. It's fucking, Kisame, yeah. Itachi and Kisame both had to jump back, and they were like, what the hell? Like, what the hell is this kid doing? Naruto is purposefully making, like, his attacks big as fuck. Like, in order to, for one, get some distance, and for two, to just attract attention in order to get Jiraiya to show up. And, well, his attention-grabbing technique did work in a way, right? Because now, from the other side of the hallway, what can be heard is, Itachi! Itachi and Hidan, fucking Kisame turn around, and, basically he's like, it's Sasuke, and he's like, I will kill you for what you did to our clan! And he rushes over with a Chidori in hand, shredding through the wall, as, Itachi, like, reaches over to grab him, and Kisame is also looking. But since they both weren't looking at him, Naruto increases the size of his blade as he yells out, I'm trying to see. He says, 14th form, catastrophic Tenman, crescent moon. Basically that's what they hear from the other side. They turn around, and with now a gigantic version of his sword, he creates a chaotic vortex of powerful and extremely long-range, multi-directional slashes that destroy whatever gets caught up in its radius. They notice this attack, and then they notice that Sasuke's coming in one direction as, basically they're sandwiched between two sort of attacks, and they know which attack to take. They know what attack to take their chances with. So immediately Itachi just catches that nigga Sasuke by the neck. He runs over and pushes Sasuke. He basically throws Sasuke into a wall as they start trying to avoid the slashes. And noticeably, the slashes avoided Sasuke somehow, and they're confused, and they realize that Naruto is able to control the blades that get sent out as they start immediately cutting through this apartment area. Luckily, nobody got hurt in the crossfire by it, but because of how big this attack was, he immediately after that, Jiraiya drops down and he runs over. He starts using his toad throat jutsu. I don't know. That sounds so gay, dude. Toad mouth covering jutsu, to where they're in like a toad mouth sort of thing. Itachi does what he does in canon. He used the Amaterasu and gets the hell out of there. He did put Sasuke in the infinite Tsukuyomi, or whatever the hell that fucking genjutsu was. The Tsukuyomi. He put him in the Tsukuyomi, and so basically Sasuke's knocked the fuck out. As Might Guy comes by, he picks up Sasuke, and he's like, well, I'll be on my way now. He leaves, and then they start heading out again. They eventually make it to Tsunade. Well, they make it to a drinking place, and Troy's like, she's anywhere, she'll probably be here. He goes in with Naruto, and they start talking. Of course, so they see Tsunade there, and she's drunk, and they go over there. They say, hello there, Tsunade, and we're here to talk to you about something. Tsunade's like, what the hell are you talking about? And she's just like, she stretches, basically Naruto's like, god damn, and Jiraiya's like, alright, but anywho, we came to talk about the, what's it called? We came to talk to you about taking the Hokage position. Tsunade's like, what? You want me to take the Hokage position? And then, basically, Naruto can tell that she's pretty drunk, but, eventually, she's originally, talking to Jiraiya. She's like, why would I take the Hokage position? It's the dumbest position anyone could ask for in the village. Naruto gets a bit annoyed by this, just because, he knows who his dad is now. And then, basically, Tsunade just starts dissing the Hokage, talking about how all the Hokage, except for the old man, have died trying, and the old man's just waiting on his luck, which is also annoying to Naruto, because the old man she's talking about is his grandfather in his eyes. As, so Naruto's getting progressively more and more angry, and then she says, look at the fourth Hokage, for example. He died young, and what did he leave behind? Nothing. It's like, the Hokage and the title itself is trash. And this just immediately gets Naruto's silence to break. as he says, you can't speak of trash, and, Tsunade's confused, as, so is Jiraiya. She's like, and, Naruto says, look around us right now, and, Jiraiya's like, what do you mean? Like, just look around us, They're like, yeah, what about it? And he's like, look at the area. We're in a bar in the middle of nowhere, no man's land, and you, the legendary Sani, the Slug Princess, the great daughter or granddaughter of Hashirama Senju, a Hokage, mind you, and Mito Uzumaki, the former Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. And what did you even amount to? A drunk who always gambles and always loses. A nobody who's probably gonna just die, fucking just drinking herself to death, And Tsunade's off put by this. She's disrespected by it, of course, but she's like, she doesn't expect a fucking kid to say some poetic ass shit like this. Eventually, Naruto's like, and all for what? Just so you can complain and nag about who the Hokage are and how they worked. At least they died for something. He gets up and he starts walking out of there. Basically, Tsunade's like, she's like, what the hell does that kid know? And, she drinks a bit and she's like, who's the brat? And, basically, Jiraiya explains, well, Slug Princess, that is Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki's son. Otherwise known as a bit of the last family you have left, in a certain way, I guess you could say. Which, it's not like they're directly related, but Mito Uzumaki. And also, just because she basically dissed a man's dead father in front of him. And she realizes why Naruto is so angry like he is right now. And also, he does explain that Hiruzen has been like a grandfather for him his entire life, right? And she realizes, like, shit. She's like, well, I'm not apologizing to the damn kid. And, basically, Jiraiya's like, yeah, he wouldn't want an apology anyway. He just, he probably needs some air right about now. Basically, after that, if we follow where Naruto is, Naruto went out and just started slashing shit. He wasn't in the mood. He just started slashing around the area, just destroying trees and stuff like that. He didn't do it in the fucking town, because he's not crazy. But, he did just slash around the area, trying to get, his annoyance out of, the way. And, yeah. Naruto, of course, how pissed he was. He's just completely just self-absorbed in this current moment. As, basically, I forgot what her fucking name is. I don't remember. The assistant. Tsunade's assistant walks up to Naruto and she's like, listen, I'm very sorry about what Lady Tsunade said. She didn't mean any of that to hurt you. She wasn't aware. Naruto, he looks over and he's like, oh, you're her assistant, right? Basically she explains, yeah, I am, and yada yada yada. They talk for a bit. Naruto is like, it's fine, I was a bit out of line myself. I should have been more respectful. He tries to convey that he's not really that angry, which is a lie. Basically she's like, I'm sure that, Tsunade is very apologetic to you, just because she herself has also lost a lot of people. And Naruto's like, yeah, right, and, so then he gets up, he's like, I'm gonna head to meet Jiraiya wherever the hell he is. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, give me a second. Jesus Christ. I'll be back. Well, okay, I'm back. That completely just offset me completely. Jesus Christ. So, Naruto is out looking for Jiraiya and stuff like that. Jiraiya is just talking to Tsunade still. And, he is explaining to her that, right now Hiruzen wants to retire and she'd be the best person for this. Basically he's still trying to convince her, yada yada yada. And then, Naruto walks up to them And she basically, Naruto's like, well, so are you not gonna become Hokage? You know, she's like, no, I don't actually plan on being the Hokage. Like I said before, you know, it's the dead man's job. And, you know, Naruto's like, alright then. You know, like, he's really annoyed, especially since she said that now knowing everything about him. You know, of course, he's like, how about we have a little challenge since, you know, you're a Sani and stuff. You know, she's confused by this, and Jiraiya is also a bit confused by this. And, you know, basically Naruto's like, well, if I can hit you once, then you become Hokage. If you can hit me once, I give you the... What do I give you? How about I give you all the money that was left to me from the Namikaze clan? Or, well, the 4th Hokage. You know, she's like, wait, what? You're betting your inheritance on this. And he's like, yeah. You know, basically Jiraiya goes over to Naruto. He's like, wait, Naruto, this isn't a smart idea. She's a legendary Sani, and you're literally just became a Chunin. You know, she's like, this is a lot of fucking money to bet. And, you know, Naruto basically looks over to Jiraiya, and he says this out loud, of course, to annoy her. He's like, don't worry, Jiraiya, it's a bet. And we all know how she is with bets. And, of course, this pisses off Tsunade and greatly fears Jiraiya, because now he knows that he just antagonized her on purpose, and he thinks that Naruto might just have wished himself out of his own inheritance. So, you know, of course, Jiraiya is like, alright, then I'm just gonna back off and let you do you, man. So, because he can't really tell Naruto not to do this, because Tsunade already said deal and they shook on it. So, you know, he basically proctored it, and, you know, Tsunade is like, oh, you know, after Jiraiya says, okay, Tsunade is like, alright, then I'll only use my finger on you, brat. And, you know, basically Naruto's like, fine then. You know, immediately, Naruto, his whole fucking aura changes, as, like, she's a bit confused on why this happened, and why Naruto's acting like this. As, you know, he takes a deep sort of breath. Like, he takes a deep breath in and a deep breath out, as a sort of marking starts to appear on his forehead, and like right below his sort of chin area to the left of it, on the opposite side of his head. You know, Jiraiya's a bit confused by this, and so is Tsunade. You know, she's like, what the hell is this, Jiraiya? You know, basically Jiraiya's like, I don't know either, like, you know as well as I do. You know, then she looks over, she's like, what the hell are you doing, kid? And then right as she says that, Naruto basically appears in front of her, right? And he says, and then right as he, you know, appears in front of her, he says, first form, dark moon, evening palace. And he immediately sends a frontal slash straight for her gut, because, you know, he knows that she can heal pretty well, at least. So he immediately sends this slash out. You know, she dodges it. She barely is able to dodge it as the crescent shape shoots out and starts, like, slashing at her as well. And she keeps having to try to dodge it, keeping on jumping back over and over again. But, thanks to, like, you know, her jumping back like that, now Naruto, using the fact that she was just purely really focused on dodging the attack, he got behind her, and then he yelled out, third form, loathsome moon chains, and he sent out 2 big-ass slashes right at her back, as she couldn't really dodge it since she was already jumping back from the first attack. As she, you know, she got slashed on the back, which even then her back started getting slashed up even more by the other smaller crescent moon-shaped blades. So, you know, Tsunade, like, falls onto a knee as her back, like, slowly heals. You know, Naruto basically walks up, patting her on the shoulder. He's like, you did well. You know, he starts walking off. And Tsunade realizes that this kid just basically beat her in the bet without getting touched, without her even getting a chance to bring out an attack. And Jiraiya, he's fucking astonished, because now she has to be Hokage. And if you're wondering, yes, that was the Demon Slayer marking. If you're wondering if it's pretty OP in this, yeah, it's pretty fucking OP. If you're wondering how long he can use it, he can't use it that long. So, you know, basically he walks over to Dry and he's like, well, I did it, so you better carry me. You know, basically Dry is like, what? You know, and right when he says that, basically Naruto falls over because that just used up all his energy in one go. Because he never did it before. That's the first time he just pulled that out for a second just to beat a legendary Sannin real quick. And now he just passes out and Jiraiya catches him. Jiraiya is surprised by this, so is Tsunade. And they wait for Tsunade's assistant to come by, and she has to hold her word true. And of course, she does the same thing in canon, but this time Naruto's knocked the fuck out, but she still gives him the necklace in his sleep. You know, she basically tells him that he did a good job, even though like they didn't have the Orochimaru fight. But, you know, he did a good job beating her, and she sees that like he has a will of fire that her father would always speak about. And yeah, they make it back to the village. Tsunade agrees to become a Hokage. Naruto's sent to the infirmary. Karin goes there to check on him, along with a few other people, like Shikamaru and Choji. Ino also goes there because her teammates went there. You know, they just talk to her about Naruto, and they basically see Jiraiya walk back in, and like right when Jiraiya walks back in, Naruto gets up and like holds his head. He's like, fuck. What the hell happened? Why does my head hurt? You know, and then basically he's like, well, you kicked the Sannin's ass in a challenge, but you only did it for like 2 seconds, so I don't really think it counts. He's like, no, I'm Sannin level now. Yeah, that's how that works. You know, Jiraiya's like, no, that's not how that works. You're not a Sannin. He's like, I'm definitely a Sannin. I'm definitely a Sannin. Yeah, I'm for sure a Sannin. You know, basically they're just going back and forth about this, and eventually, you know, Karin and them they check up on Naruto, see if he's all right. You know, Naruto's fine. He asks Karin how she's doing and if she's all right, and like how it was at the village while she was gone. She does explain that Itachi did attack the village and their home, but she wasn't home at the time, so she's fine. You know, Naruto's happy to hear that. But, you know, it's not really like them going out yet at all. They're still just friends for the most part. Stuff will happen, like, later on, I guess. But, you know, while all that is going on, we're gonna say, you know, it is revealed that Sasuke, while they were gone, like, had headed out of the village. Like, well, I'm not gonna say that, actually. Sasuke and Naruto, they had their matchup on the roof. Instead of a Rasengan versus the Chidori, Naruto just, like, sidestepped the Chidori, like, right as Sasuke did it, and then chopped his neck, basically making Sasuke, like, fall over. Like, not knocking him out, but just making him fall over, as he couldn't really do anything. And, Sasuke was pissed, because this means that Naruto easily was able to beat him like that. Like, it didn't even take too much effort for Naruto to beat him. And he's upset, right? And of course, you know, Naruto is like, you need to just keep training, Sasuke, you'll get there. And, you know, of course, hearing that upsets him even more, because he has been training. He's been training hard, like, his whole life in his own eyes. Like, he has never not been training. And, you know, after that, a few days later, Sasuke does the thing where he leaves the village, and then it's the Sasuke retrieval arc. If it looks like I'm trying to, like, rush through this a little bit, understand I've been recording for 3 hours and 38 minutes. I'm tired. But, yeah. So basically, Sasuke rushes, like, basically to leave the village. He leaves Sound 4, they put him in the capsule, and they send out the team. Everybody goes there, like, in canon, where their groups go with each group. And, yeah, until they reach the Valley of the End. You know, now Sasuke is over there on the other side where Madara is, and Naruto's on the Hashirama side. You know, Naruto's like, Sasuke, just come back to the village. You don't have to leave. You don't have to do this. You know, he's trying to convince Sasuke to not leave the village. And Sasuke is just not listening to him at all. You know, he's like, I will become stronger. I'll meet Orochimaru and you'll give me strength. The strength I need to kill Itachi. You know? And of course, they begin their fight. The fight at this point, well, they're both at their bases, is pretty one-sided on Naruto's favor. Naruto is completely, like, messing up Sasuke, but not really trying to kill him, so none of the cuts that you're doing are fatal in any way. After that, Sasuke activates his curse mark stage 1, which he's never really done before. So, you know, he's taking in how much stronger and faster he is with the curse mark stage 1 alone. As actually, he used it against Gar, but he never really got a good feel of it. So he's like feeling how much faster and stronger he is with the curse mark stage 1. As you know, he realizes that like even now, like with the stage 1 curse mark, he's still not stronger than Naruto. You know, Naruto is still fighting against Sasuke. He's not just trying to kill him, more just trying to stop him from leaving without mortally wounding him. You know, of course, just like that, you know, Sasuke's around, we'll say, he's still weaker than Naruto in this stage, but he's, like, putting up a decent enough fight to where he's not completely one-sided. Eventually, after a little bit of fighting, after that, finally, Sasuke kicks Naruto back and realizes that he can't hold anything back as he goes into his second stage, the curse mark. And he gets these, like, sort of hand wings and stuff like that. The shit that he got in canon. And, you know, now he completely, like, he's fighting Naruto. And it's pretty even now. It's pretty, like, evenly matched. But remember, Naruto is not using a lot of stuff he can. For one, he's not using his longer blade. And for two, he's not really using his fucking Demon Slayer mark. So right now, it's still like pretty evenly matched at this point. But Sasuke basically, he starts to create a Chidori, and Naruto knows that Sasuke's like, you know, serious about this as he grips his blade. You know, he rushes over at Sasuke, getting ready to use his first form, and Sasuke goes in for the Chidori. As their attacks collide, and Sasuke is on the ground, and Naruto, he has like a hole in his chest. But, you know, Sasuke, basically his arm went through Naruto. But, cause this time Sasuke just wants him fucking dead. Like, this Sasuke wants to kill this guy, full on. He does not like Naruto, and he doesn't want to deal with Naruto. But now Sasuke also has a gash in his chest, just from Naruto's slash, as you know, Naruto has to hold his chest for a moment, because his healing, like, you know, ability is slowly setting in, you know, it's slowly getting there, but he is healing, like, really quick for this big-ass wound. You know, like, Sasuke can't really get up in this situation, neither can Naruto, and, before they could really do anything, again, Orochimaru shows up, and he immediately grabs Sasuke. But he can also hear that Jiraiya's coming in quick, so he knows he can't just quickly kill Naruto and be done with it. So he just grabs Sasuke and gets the hell out. You know, Naruto, he's upset because he knows he could have just defeated Sasuke, but he also wanted to save a bit of Sasuke's pride, because if he brought back Sasuke just easily, then Sasuke would have just kept attempting to leave because he would have felt so weak against Naruto. But, you know, Sasuke knows that Naruto held back against him. Naruto knows he held back against Sasuke, you know. But yeah, now that Naruto has basically I wouldn't say been defeated, more like had to draw a match with Sasuke. He's in the infirmary. Jiraiya tells him about the fact that he wants to go train Naruto for 2 years to fight against the Akatsuki and, you know, defeat the Akatsuki. And Naruto agrees, of course, telling Karin. Karin's upset. Sakura blames Naruto for not saving Sasuke. And yeah, that's how I'm gonna end this off. Alright, I am sorry, I am tired. Listen, if you guys get like a decent amount of likes on this, then I'll record a second half of the movie tomorrow. If not, then I'm gonna wait a little bit because I need a break. Alright, like I said, like 500 or something. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching, and peace.